I'm gonna open it now.
Okay.
I can watch both too, Aaron, if you need me to. I can help out.
Yeah, that'd be fan. However y'all want to do it. I have actually got this filter set up here where I can.
It's live.
You see here, hold on a second. Do you see this here? I actually no, not you, not the Halloween background. Halloween's over, that demonic holiday. If you see over here in the top of my screen, there is a where it says the restream chat.
Yeah.
Chat can actually appear there across the side of my screen if I wanted to do it that way.
Dude, it's showing you're live right now.
Yeah, that's
On
what I was
YouTube?
just.
It's
Yeah,
showing you're live right now. Yep, we're
All
live.
right.
you're
Oh,
live,
man, you've
and
changed my
I'm
world.
sharing it now.
It's showing you're live right now. Yep. I got to mute
All
it.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah. So make sure you all mute your browsers.
So I've got you live on one screen, and then I'll do Facebook on the other screen as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Are we live on Facebook too?
We should be. Let me double check
Yeah,
here.
we are. Hang on.
And we've got.
I muted.
Two minutes, by the way.
This was going to tell you a second ago.
No, 1 minute. We got 1 minute.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're live on Facebook.
Okay. Thank you for showing me that because I didn't know I could mute just a site.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you know that or not, Erica, but if you go to your browser, you can right click and mute the site so it doesn't start blabbering while you're. Not that you've had that problem.
It's not in my browser. I have it on my phone, so I can respond in the YouTube chat while we're live. It's playing on my phone.
I've never seen myself on YouTube live before. I feel like a celebrity.
You're so special.
I feel special.
I was invited to be on. Kenzie Richards invited me to be on the show.
Yep. You're going to have fun with that on Off Track as a panel member, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, Aaron. You know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hold my own. I'm not worried about it.
Oh, I'm not worried about you.
You worried about them bursting into flames when I walk into the room?
No.
Gosh, man.
Maybe.
All right, let's see.
It depends who else is on the panel.
We've got 15 seconds.
I swear I missed my bed so bad, guys. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
all right, go ahead. We're muting y'all. We will be broadcasting live in just a moment while we get the music set up. Welcome everybody to the breakdown. This is Aaron Barker. Just a small technical glitch happening, but we are excited that you all are joining us today as we listen to the smooth, dulcet tones of me as I talk as if we know something's going on. We'll be with you in just a moment, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Apologies for the technical difficulties. We shall be broadcasting in just a moment. Welcome to the Breakdown, everybody. This is Aaron Barker broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep behind enemy lines, asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible study and sent to therapy. Thank you all so very much for the opportunity to be in your vehicle, office, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, outhouse, or doghouse, wherever it is you may be listening to the broadcast today. And we have a really fun setup for you today. Actually, a little bit of a surprise here that we found out right before the show started. I was very excited about that. But we got a lot of stuff to get into today. Good morning, Erica. Oh, hold on just a second. Let me unmute you there. Everything is starting to play. Everything that I tried not to play, I was trying to play, is now playing.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh man, I tell you what, I love it. I'm living the dream. Brian, it's good to see you, man. Most people thought you were dead, and we did not expect you to be on the show today.
Hey, I am glad to be alive. It was.
I am glad too, brother.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, lots of fun.
So we'll get into that in just a moment. Also, Brian's going to give us a tale about a pig in the ER. And
yeah, how do you know you're in a small town?
Like, were you at a vet or were you at a real ER? But we'll get into that in just a few minutes here. But we've got a pretty cool exciting development right before the show, was that we are now live on YouTube as well. So if you head on over to YouTube, if you prefer to watch it there, you can watch us on Facebook Live, or you can watch us over on YouTube. And you can watch us just go on about inane and silly things here. So feel free to join in on the chat both there and here on Facebook. You can also go to breakdradio.com and click on the microphone in the bottom right-hand corner and sound off. We will happily play that on the air here for you as well. Even if we don't like it, we're still going to play it. That's how y'all get through. Anyway, so a lot of things to get into this week. Of course, our Bad Theology segment coming up. We're going to be talking this time about a NASCAR, which I thought all NASCAR guys had perfect theology. A little bit of paranormal news, some music stuff, some sports-ish, because we cover sports so well here on the show. Erica's got some things to say about that. I wonder if it's reminiscent of her anger over Matthew Perry. We'll have to find out. But again, join us Facebook, YouTube, and leave your sound off at breakdradio.com by clicking on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. So last week, Brian, you had been, for the past couple of weeks, you've been having some issues, man, with some breathing. And then, you know, we were all like, hey, Brian, you need to get that checked out. You did, and they sent you home from the urgent care. And then last week, I guess some of those old country ladies from your church like threw you up on their shoulders and busted you to church.
Pretty much.
Like threw you through the door, and they're like, "Get in there, pastor, get taken care of."
Well,
So
I was explicitly told by several of the ladies in the church that if I did not go to the hospital, they would take me to the hospital. So where has it worked out? That's what happened. So I ended up going to urgent care, and long story short, noticed they found out that I had some blood clots in my lungs, and that was causing some major breathing issues.
Yep,
So yeah, after a week of being in the hospital, they finally kicked me out. I guess I was too much of a pain in the butt for everybody in the hospital. So
are you a bad patient?
No, I'm not a bad patient. I was actually told I was a very good patient. In fact, the last 48 hours while I was sitting there, the nurse came by and goes, "Do you not need anything?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine." She goes, "Are you sure? You're in the hospital. You know that, right?" So yeah, it was a thing. Now, the cool part, we're going to talk about the ER. I live in a small town. I say it's a small town. It's smaller than most. It's Paducah, Kentucky. And so I went to this hospital. I was told this was the best hospital to go to. And so I went to the hospital, and I was in the ER for about 9 hours. And as I'm sitting there, I hear what I think is a baby screaming. I mean, it's like like the squeal, and you think it's a baby screaming, and everybody's laughing, and I'm like, what the heck? Why are we laughing at this child screaming? And I look around, and all of a sudden, this little thing pokes its head out. No, it was a pig. They brought a pig to the ER. I'm not exactly sure why the pig was in the ER until later. I found out that it is apparently an emotional support pig.
Yes, the ESA pig.
Yes,
Of
yes.
course.
Are you sure it was a pig and just not a
Fantastic.
really
Oh, I'm
ugly
sure it was a
child?
pig because its
Oh,
name was
wow.
Chunker.
Chunker.
And it was Chunker, and the reason why it was squealing is because they were trying to put the little blue vest on it so that it could be officially an emotional support pig. And this was owned by one of the the doctors, and he was bringing it into the ER for that very. It was actually being trained to be an emotional support pig. So. I just thought, it's typical, that you're in a small town, and what do
Little country town and
they bring livestock into they bring livestock into the ER. That was just wonderful.
That
So-
seems so sanitary.
Oh yeah.
That's a great idea.
Well, it's a little potbelly pig, so I'm sure it's not as filthy as a big pig, but still it was funny.
Well, you know what? There are people who take those potbelly pigs and they raise them in their houses. Like they live in their homes like dogs. They have their dog beds.
Yeah.
Yes, like a pig in the house.
Yes, definitely.
Go ahead, Erica. Say it. I can see it all over your face.
It's still
And
a
I'm not just
pig.
talking about rednecks in Kentucky.
It's still a pig.
Yes, it is still a pig.
And
Yeah.
it squeals like a pig. I'm just saying, because
Yeah.
it was wee, wee, wee.
Yeah.
What the
So,
crap?
that seems like a great way to emotionally support me while I'm sitting in the ER and I'm probably in pain or in fear for my life. It's the ER, not the slow R. You're supposed to be there for, and you're going to bring in a squealing pig.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I
the
felt
funny,
great.
yeah, the funny part about it is just before they moved me to a regular room, I asked if I could have my picture taken with the emotional support pig.
Yeah, you did.
And as soon as I did, my cell phone died, and I did not have a charger. So
Oh,
planning
that's a
on-
real shame that we didn't get that photo.
yeah,
I
because
mean,
it wouldn't have been awesome to put on our Facebook page. Is Brian with his emotional support pig?
dare you deprive me of the number of memes I could have had with that photo?
Oh, yeah. You ought to look for Chunker. It's a small town, like what, 30K in that town.
Can you
You
imagine?
can probably find Chunker.
Can you imagine
Bring
all of
Chunker
the?
back.
Yes. Can you imagine all of the hashtags that Debbie would have created?
I think that you should invite Chunker to come hang out at your church one Sunday and
Hey,
let
that's
him
an idea.
emotionally support all of your congregation.
That's an idea. They all need emotional support.
I wonder how much of emotional support. It's like, oh, it's an emotional support for me. It's like, but that pig is squealing and I'm here trying to get help and I hear a pig squealing,
I'm trying to put clothes on it and it's squealing.
It was so funny. It was so funny. But yeah,
I would have walked over.
Well, I wasn't allowed
walked
to
over
walk
and like,
anywhere.
man, I think I know what's wrong with your child. It's a pig.
It's a pig. Yes. Ain't got no gas in it.
I think there's wrong with that child.
Listen,
Oh,
the
man.
line here is really long. Let me save you some time.
I mean, like, think about that. It's like just somebody walks up, they've got the pig, like, because they carry that thing everywhere. There's emotional support animals. They go on planes and stores, all that places. And you have to treat them under the Americans with Disability Act. You have to
Oh, I
treat
know.
them like
Yeah.
you would a help dog. What do they, like a service dog.
Right.
And so you can't turn down like an emotional support parrot or emotional support pig.
No, you
If I'm
can't.
not
Imagine you're sitting with
mistaken,
a
though,
pig like swaddled like a baby, and somebody walks up and they're like, "Oh, let me see your little shit. That's a pig."
Okay, so let me tell you, right? In my current profession, when someone comes to one of the apartments and wants to rent an apartment, right? At any one of the 28 properties, we have pet-free properties and people want ESA animals. We actually make them have paperwork filled out by their veterinarian, and the veterinarian has to sign this paperwork saying that they are willing to testify in a court of law that the animal is necessary for emotional support. And you go to the vet because you can't go to their doctor who tells them they need one, because that's a violation of HIPAA. So if you go to the vet, the vet has to sign off on it. So if it's not really an emotional support animal, that vet's probably not going to be inclined to be willing to testify to that in a court of law.
So I understand, if I'm not
How can
mistaken,
you-
several of these animals are trained to be ESA animals, but they're trained specifically for things like diabetes.
Right.
I know dogs that can sense whether or not blood sugar's low or high or whatever. And if I'm not mistaken, pigs are one of those animals.
Okay. Okay.
You know what? Okay, I can believe a dog because dogs are like the dogs have this sixth sense.
There's
They
a
know when
smell
they
too. People that are sick, your high blood
Yeah.
sugar, you have a different breath. Your breath smells different. They can smell that it's a change, and they know that it's not right. And they know it's
Yes.
different.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Like an actual change in your physiology, dogs can pick that up.
But I don't
You know,
know
and
if
they're
a
also
pig
like-
can do that.
Yeah, like a pig. Like I would be afraid, like if the pig could pick up that my sugar's high, it would start to eat my leg or something. You know,
It's gonna think you're one of them.
you know.
If
I
this
mean, that's
is
how
for-
you get rid of a
and Aaron,
It's
this is
a
for
hog.
all the honey baked ham you have consumed in your life. As the little as little bacon decides to gnaw on your big toe.
It's their revenge for
The
all their
revenge of the
brethren.
pig.
Chunker's like I've been waiting for this for my whole life.
He's down. He's down. He's down.
And then he sends
It's
out
like they- all the
the
pigs-
squeal that all the other pigs in the world come
They
running.
come running. That's great.
All the pigs have trained for that moment to get back
Right.
at Honey Baked Ham and all its customers.
Brian, can you imagine having to
Oh.
come on the show without Aaron and announce that Aaron has been
Aaron's been pigified.
Consumed
Yes.
by Chunker.
He's been eaten by a pig. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Oh my god, that's great.
The swine revolt has begun. It hath claimed its first victim. Oh my gosh. Well, there you go. Well, Brian, I mean, like, I'm glad that you're okay, and I'm sure everybody else here is glad that you're okay. And
Heck, I'm glad I'm
the-
okay. It was scary.
Yep. It was, well, I mean, I felt bad because like I got the message, like I knew you messaged me Sunday night. I didn't get that till like Monday morning.
Yeah.
So I woke up and I was like, what the crap? It was kind of freaked me out. So I'm glad. Now, of course, you made it through everything right now. You're alive right now. You're kicking. They've given you some treatments. You're going to be able to manage this, or is this something that like, because I can't go through the emotional distress. I'm gonna have to get an emotional support pig. I can't go through the emotional distress of not knowing if you're going to be on the show.
I am going to be on the
That's
show. I
just
am not going
just
anywhere.
Too much for me.
Yeah, and I didn't create that dating profile for nothing. So,
Exactly. So as it turns out, yeah, it's going to be a new hobby for a little while going through this. The main thing that we got to
New
watch.
hobby?
Yeah. So for the next few months, I've got to watch. They're going to be doing a lot of tests on like the lungs to make sure that everything is dissipating the way it's supposed to be, and that everything can go the way it's supposed to. Like the blood clots are actually starting to dissolve and that kind of stuff. So I've got a new hobby at this point.
You said hobby. It's kind of like you're gonna, it's like, you're gonna go play squash or golf. You're like, I'm gonna go to the doctor and gonna get me some tests.
Okay, I thought
So,
chess, but if you want to go
Chess.
squash, I'll go there.
That's awfully intellectual for Brian to think chess. I don't know. Oh man. But anyway, yeah. So glad you're okay. Of course, you can sound off as well by going to breakdradio.com, clicking on the microphone in the bottom right-hand corner. We would be happy to play that for you as well. And don't forget to share the show with everybody that you know out there, because we'd love for them to watch the show, especially over on YouTube, since we're big celebrities now over on YouTube. I honestly feel like a celeb now. I'm like, oh, I'm YouTube live. I didn't even know I could go YouTube live. It's one of those one of them cool things.
Yeah, it's cool to see
there's
everybody.
things like-
It's cool to see everybody in the chat over there.
The Lord Reverend Professor Rusty J. Lugnuts is in the YouTube chat.
We need to make sure that Lugnuts has got his titles correct, because I don't think that Reverend comes after or before Professor.
You know
They're
what? I'm
in the
gonna make
order in
sure-
which he received them. First he was Professor,
Oh, okay.
then
okay.
he was Reverend, and now he is Lord.
Okay, gotcha.
It's Rusty Reverend Professor Lord Lugnut, something like that. I don't know. Well, I mean, every now and then. I mean, like,
He's really a
the
junior,
audacity
so
of
you
someone
could
to
just
do
call
all
him
the
Junior.
time.
He loves that.
Junior?
He loves that.
JR. What's up, JR?
June.
And
it's interesting, Brian. You mentioned that. Now, when you were at the ER, was it packed? Were there a lot of people there?
It was
Or
not.
was
I
it-
mean, it wasn't bad at all. Like I said, when I walked in, the main thing is I could not actually walk from the parking lot to the ER, and I parked my truck in the parking lot because I drove myself. And when they came out to get me, and I went in, there was one other person in the ER. And then they took me back to a room about 10 minutes later. And that's where I stayed for most of the evening until actually about 5 o'clock the next morning while they were waiting to get a bed open in the CCU. But I mean, it wasn't super busy. And I mean, the hospital staff was incredibly attentive. I mean, everybody was just as great as could be. I didn't have any bad experiences there whatsoever. They all took care of me. I mean, lots of fun. Met a lot of Christians. Actually had a chance the young lady that checked me into the ER. I had seen her a couple of times when I went there to do some visitation with other church members. And so when I came back to the ER, she's also a paramedic. So she was doing registration and working the ER whenever she was on her quote unquote break. She was the only one that could get an IV started in my arm. And so we were back there talking and she goes to a church over in Metropolis. And we got to, talking and sharing. And then the other nurses were coming in talking and sharing. And we were talking about music and we were sharing YouTube videos. I mean, it was.
So you were like flirting with all the nurse ladies there.
That's what I'm hearing. That is exactly what I'm hearing right now.
I could just see Brian back there with his gown open, his chest hair out, and I'm like, like playing Barry White in the background going,
he's pulling on his beard.
Just stroking my beard, I did get a lot of compliments on my beard while I was in there.
I'm sure you did.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, the ladies apparently looked like it was so.
Wait, hold on a second. Did you get compliments or did they look like they wanted to compliment?
Oh no, they most definitely complimented the beard. Yes. Everybody
you can walk around.
Everybody was in love with the beard.
You look like you want to tell me something good.
Everybody
you look like a girl that's going to take me out Friday night. Like, yeah, everybody can look a certain way.
Everybody was in love with the beard. Just back off. Everybody was in love with the beard.
That's great.
That guy over there keeps staring at me. Pastor, that guy's here because he can't see. He had chlorine in his eyes. Oh, you look like you want to date. Anyway, that's good. You got to hit on all the nurses there. I saw a story this week which made me think about you, Brian. It was saying that there's a record surge of infections in children. It's saying that hospitals around the U.S. are suddenly struggling to keep up with surging rates of respiratory infections among children, such as RSV, which my daughter almost died from when she was 4 weeks old, COVID, rhinoviruses, and influenza. And it says the Moderna is working on an mRNA jab for RSV. Oh, wow, that's great to hear.
Yeah, let's don't do that.
Scheduled for release in 2023. They're also working on a combination mRNA jab for COVID, RSV, and the flu. Oh, that's great. All three of those in one nice jab. And then continues. This is on Mercola's website. Dr. Mercola was kind of a censored doctor, but he says here that censored scientists and doctors have long warned that the mRNA COVID jabs are destroying people's immune systems and that we're going to see an avalanche of infections as immune systems failures set in. Now, there is right now a lot of kids. I'm hearing a lot of younger kids that are getting RSV. And I don't know about, what the COVID numbers are. Obviously, nobody follows that anymore, really. But there are a lot of kids who have RSV that are in the hospital because of it. 8-month-old and older. I mean, I of course have a soft place in my heart for that because like I said, my daughter had that. But it's just odd that there seems to be an increase of this. And I'm wondering if this all has kind of an impact because of how our immune systems were impacted, being kept in and all that. For the past 2 years. I'm not sure. But it was interesting to me because it's saying here that these hospitals are surging and that they're trying to keep up and keep staff up to take care of all these infections. I didn't know if you saw that when you were there or not, or if you heard any of the nurses or anybody talking about it while you were there.
I'm going to say this, every single doctor that I came in contact with, and I mean every single doctor, and I think I talked to 17 from respiratory specialists to hematologist to everybody. I even had an oncologist visit with me. These guys, every single one of them asked the same question. Have you had the vaccine? And when I said no, they said, thank God.
Did you ask them? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but did you ask any one of those 17 doctors, 17, you said,
Mhm.
about the blood transfusions?
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
So
yes.
there, we actually had a conversation about that with the hematologist, because I had told them, I even asked them if there was an option to, if I had to receive any blood, which I wasn't bleeding, thank God, but if I had to receive any blood, could I ask for non-vaccinated blood? And there were a couple of things that I was really surprised by, because the general consensus is that COVID itself is causing this. COVID itself, it seems to be causing major blood clot issues. It has nothing to do with I'm sorry, it doesn't have nothing to do with, but the vaccine exasperates what COVID's already doing.
So the doctors are telling you, you're saying that the doctors, the 17 doctors you spoke with, were saying that, or that's just research you've done on your own?
No, that's the doctors were saying that themselves. Every doctor that I said, they were very excited that I did not take the vaccine.
Well,
I mean, the change,
Go ahead, Erica.
The change there is that you're starting to hear doctors that are saying something about it. Now they're coming, I mean, I don't know that they feel safer about it, but at least to directly talk to the patients, they're now saying, God, thank God you're not vaccinated, or don't take that, or, not everywhere, but I think especially in the smaller hospitals, like in Paducah, you're probably going to be able to start hearing. I mean, it's coming out publicly, and the pharma companies are pulling back from their advertising. And at some point, you're going to have to say something like, hey, maybe don't do that. Because guess what? The pharma companies are safe, and so is the government, and so is everybody else. So who's going to start getting sued? The doctors, the nurses, the hospitals. That's where it's going to go. It has nowhere else to go.
And the thing is I was really surprised. Like I said, when I was talking to the doctors, I was really surprised. The first thing they asked me when I went to the ER is, have you had the vaccine? I said, no, and I'm not interested. And I immediately put that out there. I'm like, I do not want you to touch me with anything that has to do with the vaccine. And, and I was being almost belligerent about it. And, well, I was, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. That was one of the most terrifying things for me to even think about going to the doctor, is because I can just imagine while they're sitting there and, you're getting you're just getting some kind of like little they're giving you a saline solution. You don't know what's in that needle. You don't know what's in that syringe. And
they don't even know what's in that syringe.
Exactly.
Come on. I mean,
so anyway, that was my big thing. Is I was surprised though how many doctors said, they were glad that I didn't get the vaccine.
Yep.
So
good. That's good to hear. I mean, it's just good to hear that you're doing better, but
Hey, it's good to see. I got a couple of my I got a couple of my fellow ministers here from Paducah that are watching in the YouTube chat.
Oh no.
To Seth. Hey, how's it going, Seth?
Good deal. Thanks for watching us over there. And also, if you're watching, if you just joined us on YouTube or on Facebook, which is the two channels where you're streaming on right now, video wise, and if you're listening out there in Jackhole Nation, you can go to breakdradio.com, click on the mic in the bottom right hand corner, and leave your sound off. It's there. You can leave your opinion, question, comment, whatever you'd like to say, your well wishes to Brian, or if you look like you want to date Brian, just leave a message over there. Brian will be able to sense it through the audio.
Okay,
just message me on Facebook Messenger, and I will share with you Brian's dating profile. We perfected it last night, and it is epic. It's epic.
Hey, we're vying for you, Brian. We're trying to help you out here. We're trying to get his
profile. That's awesome.
It's like if we were to go through that chat and pull out everything we said, you would have a dating profile that would make Rusty want to come over and date you.
Yes.
I mean, Grumpy would probably be coming up to date you too.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break when we. Oh man, sorry, Erica. You can go ahead, real quick. I think you got like 2 seconds.
No, go ahead.
All right, we'll finish this up when we get back from the break. Keep it locked in right here on the breakdown. Again, head on over to breakdradio.com, leave your sound off, and join us on YouTube or Facebook. We'll see you in just a moment. Un momento, por favor.
Ask them questions that get your kids out of Bible studies and send to therapy.
Hi, it's Doc Thompson for Matthew 25 Ministries. Matthew 25 Ministries is one of the few charities I'll actually endorse because I know them. I've worked with them, and I know almost all of the money that you donate goes to help people. Go to m25m.org, m25m.org.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812, 800-978-4812, 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
What? Didn't see you there. I was busy eating this delicious meal from preparewithmojo50.com. You look hungry. Do you want some? Of course you do. Get your own. You can go to preparewithmojo50.com. That's preparewithmojo50.com. You can't have mine.
Welcome back to the breakdown, everybody. Thanks for staying with us during that break. Just having some fun here on a Saturday morning, talking about Brian's dating life, which there's probably absolutely nothing else that we can talk about right now if that's the only thing that we're discussing. Brian hitting on all the nurses in the hospital. I mean, he's got ladies at church throwing casseroles at him, begging to touch his beard. You should charge people to rub your beard there, Brian. That's what you should do. And you just go back to the hospital and be like, hey, ladies, you looked like you wanted to go out, so I'm here.
All right, time out. Nobody at church is begging to rub my beard, and nobody in the hospital was begging to rub my beard. And I'm not flirting with all the nurses.
Wait, they looked like they wanted to.
I said they looked like it. I didn't say they were. Okay.
Can you show me what that looks like? I mean, this is radio, but what does that look entail? Maybe.
Yeah, just what is the look, Brian?
Like, what
when
is
looks like
when they look like they want to touch your beard?
No.
Yeah. Is it like they're just like slowly creeping towards you with both hands, like they're going to strangle you? And they're like,
why? Apparently, there's some folks on YouTube that said I would totally rub your beard. I don't get.
Dude, if Rocky Stucci says that he would rub your beard, you better take him up on that because I hear that he rubs good.
Wow. Okay. This is totally went off the rails.
You know, yeah, you can't even see what Rocky looks like right now. That's the thing. I mean, he's in his tub without water, he says.
Tub without water.
I mean, like,
hey, all I'm saying is beggars can't be choosers, okay? I've been single long enough.
Yes.
Oh man. Okay. But anyway, so that's again, let's move on here a little bit. Oh, you know, we were talking about watch us get kicked off YouTube the first day we go live over there. We were talking about the vaccines and all that stuff, and there's a 17% mortality rate up by up. Let me just read the headline because I sound like an idiot. Death by vax, excess mortality up 17% among the fully vaccinated. Brian was talking about how the possibility of the vaccine causing this additional issue, which we've seen in some cases as well. But here there is in the Atlantic a story this week. A woman asked, is it time to declare a pandemic amnesty? And but she wasn't even asking. The headline just straight up says, let's declare a pandemic amnesty. Let's focus on the future and fix the problems we still need to solve. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But first, what I would like to get into is our bad theology segment. So let's go ahead and start that up here, folks, because it's an interesting bad theology segment this week. So here we go.
You're teaching some bad theology. You're teaching some bad theology. Repentance is the only cure that you need.
That's right. This is a segment of the show where we look at things that people say that are stupid, and we tell you why they're stupid, especially when it comes to theological things. This week is no exception. I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest with you, because it comes from what I think is the last bastion of patriotism and Christianity in the entire world, and that's NASCAR. A lot of folks, when you think about patriotism, when you think about good old boys, you think about Christianity and all that stuff, you think, hey, NASCAR's it. That's where we see the heart and soul of our country being won out every week on the racetrack. Here last week, it was actually, yes, it was last week, as a matter of fact. Ty Gibbs is a racer. You would know him. He's the grandson of Joe Gibbs, who owns the Washington Nationals, legendary. Well, I say legendary, but very famous athletes in his family as well. Well, he races for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series. So those of you who don't know, you have the NASCAR Cup Series or the Monster Cup Series, which is like the premier. So you'd look at that like your major league, your national league, compared to the football or baseball. It's the top tier of racing, of auto racing. And then you have the Xfinity Series, which used to be called the Busch Series. But the Xfinity Series is kind of like the farm team. You have some cup drivers that come down and race in there, but pretty much it's where those kids or those young folks that have a lot of promise end up racing in the Xfinity Series. And if they do well there, then they could get called up to race in the Cup Series. Well, Ty Gibbs is racing in the Xfinity Series. I think he's about 19 years old. And he was racing against a teammate, and his teammate was Brandon Jones, who was also part of Joe Gibbs Racing. So this is his team. So just, without trying to get too detailed about this, because, all these, so-and-so needs to win this race and they need to win that race, without getting too detailed about it, Brandon Jones had to win that Xfinity race in order to race for the championship this weekend. Ty Gibbs had already won a race and was already in contention to race this weekend. So he didn't have to win the race. What he does on the last lap of this, however, as they do these restarts, this is at Martinsville. It's a short track. They had several restarts at the end. There were over 13 cautions the entire race. On the last race, or on the last lap of the race, when Brandon Jones had all but won, Ty Gibbs, his teammate, came up behind him, nudged him, put him in a wall, and then won the race. The fans that were watching were extremely disappointed. They were very upset because there was no reason for him to do that. He was already in contention. Brandon Jones just simply needed to win a race in order to race against his own team. You kept your other teammate out of racing this race as well. And again, I'm not going to, I could go off more about how stupid of a move it was, both professionally and personally, against his teammate. Ty Gibbs he has a history of being a hothead. He's had these same incidences that have happened with other racers before. But what really peeved me and many people as well was his comments afterwards. So he wrecks his teammate. The entire grandstands are booing. They're just nobody is happy with what he did. He stands up on his car. He's raising his hands and taunting the crowd because he won. Well, afterwards, the thing that got most folks was this statement that he made. Here is him being interviewed right after the race by Claire B. Lang.
Does it bother you inside? It's really getting to know you is what people are going to like to do. And they sometimes like to boo people. They like to boo Kyle Busch. You got up on top of the car, you heard the boos, and you were like, bring it on. Not everybody can wear the black cowboy hat, right? How do you feel about all this? And, what's inside of you on it,
Yeah, for sure. I always go back to the same verse that, Jesus was hated first and among all the people. So, that's a part of it. I feel like, silencing out the crowd. And I feel like that's what you have to do as a professional athlete. And, like some of the best people, are going to get booed, and that's part of life. And you can't let other people's opinions and thoughts drive your actions and make you feel bad or anything. It's just part of life.
So it doesn't eat you up is what I'm saying.
No,
you know?
not at all. And if I did let it eat me up, then that would be weak on my part.
And it would be tough.
For
to
sure. I
carry
mean,
on.
there's definitely things.
So there you
where,
go.
like,
That was the part that had a lot of folks extremely upset. So what the annoying thing, of course, that happened here was he did something that was unfair. It was unsportsmanlike by intentionally wrecking another person. He could say he didn't, but later on throughout the week, it actually came out, that this was intent. He was pushing him out of the way. And then he gets out of the car and he compares the booing of the crowd to Jesus Christ being hated. And, when you think about it, John chapter 15, verse 18 is where we draw that statement from when Jesus Christ was talking, when he said, and when you look at the entire context of the passage, first, Jesus wasn't talking about a sporting event. Jesus was not talking about winning a race. He wasn't talking about winning a football game.
Exactly.
He wasn't talking about a teammate, spinning a teammate out. And he certainly wasn't talking about being booed by a crowd.
Exactly.
Well, the context of what Jesus was talking about was that I have given you a commandment. You love other people, greater love. And it's so weird because the context of this verse completely betrays what Ty Gibbs was saying. If you read back a little bit, it says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all that I have heard from my Father, I've made known to you. You did not choose me, election, but I chose and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should abide, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give it to you. These things I command you, so that you will love one another. If the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you are not of this world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Remember the word that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they kept my word, they will also keep yours." And it continues there. But there are two big things about this which completely destroyed Ty Gibbs' theology. And to be honest with you, NASCAR decided that this was not something that they were going to penalize, which honestly kind of boggles my mind, considering that Bubba Wallace was suspended for a race because he intentionally wrecked Kyle Larson a few weeks ago. But I wonder, I'm like, okay, so there's no punishment from NASCAR. Something is going on behind the scenes with Grandpa Gibbs and with Ty Gibbs' dad. They're working on some kind of punishment internally to make sure that he doesn't do this crap, especially next year, because you're wrecking $300,000, $400,000 cars, doing something stupid like that.
These are not minor fender benders here.
Exactly. You're traveling at excessive speeds, etc. But so you penalize or whatever you're going to do, whatever punishment you're going to do behind the scenes for him doing something stupid and dangerous like that. But here's my question. Who sat this kid down and said, "Son, your theology just sucks swamp water"? Like, what do you mean, Jesus? How are you comparing what you did there? There are two big things about this. Greater love has no one than this, that it's someone lay down his life for his friends. If you loved your friend and you knew that your friend could race and that there would be no detriment to you, why didn't you just let the guy go ahead and win the race? That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, when Jesus was talking in this context, he wasn't talking about them hating you because you pulled some kind of turd move. He's talking about them hating you because you love Jesus Christ, because Christ hath chosen you, or has chosen you out of this sea of people to be his ambassador in this world, right? So if you're hated because you were a douchebag, you kind of deserve that.
Well, think
if
of
you were
arrogance.
booed because you pulled a douchebag move, you kind of deserved it. But if they booed you because you preached the gospel, or you preferred someone above yourself, or you extolled the great virtues of Jesus, then okay, that's why the world's going to hate you.
But think about just the general arrogance of comparing yourself to Jesus Christ. I mean,
That would
honestly,
be-
so it's not even that he was a complete jerk. It's not even that he did these things wrong. It's that when he gets booed, his go-to is, Well, they hated Jesus, so of course they're going to hate me.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, man.
What the crap? I mean, how do you put yourself on the same level as the big JC? I mean, come on.
Right.
That cannot be your go-to default.
If you wanted to come up, okay, first of all, I have to tell you, I don't know if you've been to many NASCAR or racing events, but I don't necessarily associate with them with Christian events because that's not sort of a thing that goes along with it. But
especially like a Talladega or Daytona.
Yeah, like if you want to get up there and you want to say, "Hey, I'm about winning. I'm about myself. I'm about winning. I put him in the wall. I took the trophy, and I don't give a shit." Then fine. Then you're fine. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody has to like you for it. People could think you're a douchebag, as you said, right? People can think that of you after you say that. But once you want to start being like, once you want to start comparing yourself to Jesus, then you're sort of like, wow, dude, now you're just not even like, you're not even a jerk anymore. It's beyond.
And that's like automatic when those people, those Christians, and maybe I should correct myself. Maybe NASCAR reminds me specifically of like Southern Baptist theology because hey, we're saved, we're good to go. So
now you're getting a little closer, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
and then all the Southern Baptist folks just leave the chat right now.
I mean, the infield at the Indy 500 could be a Catholic revival tent. I don't know how that,
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Oh,
wow.
If you're gonna call it Christian, I don't know why you would.
I just think that it was, anytime your go-to is comparing yourself with Jesus Christ. My first thought is
it's a bad move.
You're a complete idiot. Okay. You're just a complete idiot. And everything you say after that point is completely moot. Or it's
kind of like when somebody comes up to you and they're like, well, God told me I'm supposed to stroke your beard. Pause the game. Hold on. God didn't tell me you're straight. Because that's like a go-to. Like I had a conversation with somebody this week and I was like, look, what you said, you were trying to convey an idea of something, but you failed. You didn't do it. It didn't come across properly. And the person told me, they were like, but I prayed that God give me the words to speak and that he speak through me and that I can speak clearly and use his words. And I did that. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is that
God sounds like an idiot?
Inspired words.
Yes.
And if you spoke inspired words, then I can't say anything against you. It's like, people always have that default. They either say, well, God told me, or they're like, well, they hated Jesus too. Like that's the go-to. And it's like, just because you throw yourself in that same category doesn't mean that you're actually justified in saying that. Because what it is it's a way to shut people down.
I mean, have an equivalent.
An actual argument.
Have an equivalent. Say like people hated Tom Brady too, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
At least go have a go-to that is somewhat of a tie-in. Like, since when do NASCAR drivers equal Jesus? What the heck? You're driving in a circle. Woo-hoo.
I don't know. Bubba Wallace came pretty close when he went into that whole racial diatribe thing. So he thought he was Jesus. So.
Well, I mean,
maybe there's like a deification that you have to get when you put the jumpsuit on.
Well, honestly,
is that a possibility?
You could have walked out there.
No,
I mean, just like Claire B. Lang said in that interview. I mean, she was absolutely right. She's like, somebody's got to wear the black hat. Somebody's got to be the villain, and somebody has to do that. Like they're like Kyle Busch is the number one hated driver in all of NASCAR, I would say. Like when we went to the Kentucky Speedway, when I was there for that race and he walked out, the entire crowd booed. But his brother, people really like his brother Kurt, but people do not hate Kyle, or do not like Kyle Busch. And he really could have just jumped out of the car and been like, hey, you know what? I'm here to win. Like you said, Erica, I'm here to win. I put him in the wall. And hey, Kyle Busch is my buddy. He's my homie or something like that.
Yeah, you can hate me for it. You can hate me for it. You could think I'm a jerk. You could think, why would you do that to your own team member and waste the money? And my answer is, I'm all about me. I'm still going to say, you're a driver. That's all. That's all you do. You have one job. You drive. You don't build the car. You don't run the car. You don't fix the car. You don't actually even gas it up or put the tires on it. And if your pit team is done, it doesn't matter how good you drive, you're in last. So you're nothing. And guess what? There's a whole bunch more of you that probably can drive, That part isn't that hard. I could probably teach that.
Well,
Actually,
like I
that's
said,
not exactly necessarily right, Eric. I mean, it is like, because I might get a little on my high horse here, but like there is a talent in driving those cars.
Okay,
There is
all
a
right,
talent
all
in
right, okay.
aerodynamics. There's
All right.
talent in knowing when to shift. I mean, it's a science. Like if you watch the in-car cameras on those things, it is like it is a science, and it is a methodical process. You're going, 500 laps around a half-mile track or a short track like Martinsville. You're doing the Daytona 500. You got to get into a system. I mean, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of skill. That's why you have the Jimmy Johnsons, Jeff Gordons, Dale Earnharts, and Tony Stewarts, and then you have the people on the bottom like Bubba Wallace and Ty Gibbs and all those.
You're
guys.
sitting in a car.
But anyway,
yeah. You're
sitting
okay.
in a car and what?
Nothing,
go ahead. No, go
nothing.
ahead.
You're sitting in a
I'm not gonna
car.
get offended.
It's like the punter in football. Okay. I mean, or the field goal kicker. It's like the field goal kicker. You have one job. If you make it to the NFL, you have seen wind every stadium, every size line, every trick play. And if you haven't, then you shouldn't be there, right? If you are driving at that point, that's your job. Do your job and do it well or come in last. It's just,
All I'm saying is I am not. I don't care whether you consider NASCAR to be a sport or not. I still go back to the fact that this guy's go-to answer was, "I'm just like Jesus." That's
I'm
why
just
they
like
hate me.
Jesus, right?
So now to his credit, I believe it was, I think it was Bob Pockers, but Bob Pockers posted this on Twitter. I'm not sure if he asked the question or not, but here's what Ty Gibbs said later on in the week. Of course, after he had his sit down with Grandpa and Daddy about his stupid decision that he made last week. Here's what he had to say. This was on Wednesday, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday. Come on.
Regret the Jesus comment? I totally do, and I think that I wasn't trying to say it like that. It came out the wrong way, of course, and moving forward, I should do the best I can to be more aware of my situation and know what's going on.
Well, we're going to interrupt these interviews.
So then, so it's funny because he's being interviewed, and of course he says, I regret it. He regrets it, but does he apologize for doing that and saying that? But Ben Rhodes comes up next to him and says he doesn't want to interrupt the interview, but here's what he has to say. It's pretty funny.
What's going on?
Well, we're going to interrupt these interviews for special broadcast.
What's up? Want to interrupt this?
Well, are you walking on water?
I'm working forward to getting out of this whole situation I put myself in.
Well,
yeah, like he wasn't trained to answer sarcastic comments like that. He was like, I'm looking forward to getting myself out of this situation. Yeah, I'm sure you are.
And Aaron, here's the funny part. So, I don't know if anybody else noticed this or not, but there's no video of this guy, but he sounds like he's 12.
He's like 19. I mean, he is.
He's still a kid.
Yeah, he is still a child. I mean, I say child, but yeah, like making decisions like that. Honestly, I think he's. I could look it up, but yeah, the kid's like a teenager.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it reminded me of that part in Tombstone where like, where's Wyatt? Down by the creek, walking on water.
Yeah. I mean,
but anyway.
Maybe until your frontal lobe is fully formed, you might want to pipe down on the JC comments.
Exactly.
Yeah. But he got absolutely excoriated on Twitter over that. But anyway, somebody showed up the following week at the track and dressed like Jesus and was walking around with a sign that said, looking for Ty Gibbs.
I can see it now. He's gonna have.
That's funny.
He's gonna have a new sponsor from like Franzia Wine or something like that.
Chosen.
Yes.
The NASCAR sacrament.
He's gonna like the Chosen is gonna sponsor him, and on the side of it, it's gonna say, "Jesus, keep my name out your mouth."
Exactly.
Oh God.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh man. All right. So what's that, Erica?
I just think that's great. What a marketing ploy right there. I mean, that's fantastic.
Can you see all the memes going on where he's on stage and Jesus walks up and just smacks the stuffing out of his face?
Yep.
Slap.
Oh man.
Oh, good Lord.
Out your mouth. All right. Well,
That's
the
hilarious.
breakdradio.com is the website. You can click on the microphone in the bottom right-hand corner and leave your sound off, as it appears somebody has done already. So let's listen to Rusty Professor Reverend Lord Lugnuts J. Jr. here.
Junior. Oh, God, it's gonna
Oh,
kill me.
Erica, it's like, oh, it's a dirty, dirty pig. Well, in reality, they're no dirtier than a cat in the house. They'll use a litter box just like a cat.
What?
You know, they don't just walk around crapping or and whatever on everything. They are smarter than a dog, believe it or not.
Yep.
And yeah, we've raised a couple of pigs, a couple of runts in the house. They are funny, good pets. They just get a little large and can be mean. Anyway, good show.
I like how he finishes.
Brian is awesome.
Brian, oh, whatever.
Oh, what? Okay.
This is such crap. We're getting hated on, Erica. I like how he
I
finishes.
love
off,
this
like, oh, they're just like a
crowd.
cat. They
I
use a
love
litter
this
box.
crowd. You guys are
They're just
awesome.
feeling bad for
They
you
feel
because you're in the
sorry for
hospital.
you because you were sick.
Yeah.
God.
Hey, this started
all
before I was sick. I mean, we had Debbie, the hashtag queen over here. She's just lighting up chat. Now she's moved over to YouTube. I
Yep.
love it. This is like, I live in infamy now through you guys. You guys, I'm so blessed. You know, they love Jesus just like they love me.
Oh, God. Oh, no, no. Brian's apology
Hey,
video will
love
be coming
Jesus,
out right
love
after the
me
show.
too.
Yeah, Brian will go on his apology tour here in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get myself out of this situation.
Yeah,
Try
that's a
walking
good
on
one.
water.
That's a good one.
I love how Professor Lord Rusty Lugnuts Jr. over there said that, you know, they're like cats. They use a litter box. They can be kind of mean. Great show. Have a good. I'm like, what do you mean they can be kind of mean? Like,
Yeah.
what are they? You think about that. Like a cat can scratch you. You could declaw a cat. If a cat comes at you, you could just like kick the crap out of it. But you got like a 250-pound pig, like charging at you.
Well, first
I
of
mean,
all,
if you talk about
nobody
they can
keeps a
be mean-
250-pound pig in the house.
Yeah, whoa.
We're
I
talking- these
don't
are
think
like
we're
pig
talking
here.
about a 250. I thought we were talking about Potbelly, like
No,
little,
these are
like,
baby
I'm
pigs.
talking
These are
about,
little
tiny-
pigs.
I know somebody personally that had a pig that is about 250 pounds that was in their house until about 6 months ago when they took it to a place that will board it while their child is in college. For
Oh my
the
gosh,
semester. Yes,
Okay,
I'm being
that's-
serious. This is a freaking big pig. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not talking about like the little tiny like potbelly, unless there's like varied sizes, like, you know, toy potbelly pigs or
Yeah, there are
big fat
miniature
potbelly
potbelly
pig, whatever.
pigs that Rusty, I hope, is talking about because they can be litter trained. I have heard of that. And I hope if you
Chunker
know,
was litter trained. I do know that because they were talking about it. I could hear them talking about it. So
Chunker.
yeah,
I
Chunker
mean-
was the little pig in the ER. So
Who names their emotional support animal with a derogatory name? You're
Well,
calling
hey,
your pig Chunker.
I've got another friend of mine who has a pet pig, and his name is Bacon. I mean, yeah, I know. How terrible is that, right?
I mean, so I can't say anything because we had a pet. Oh, well, my cousin had a pet duck when we were growing up, and his name was Butterball, and we ate him. So I guess that's kind of.
Oh, man.
I think
your
we've gone
emotional
off the
support.
rails somewhere today. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I haven't laughed this much in a long time.
I'm
Oh,
glad you can laugh, dude. I'm glad you have the breath to laugh. I'm glad, you know, that you're able to, you know, to feel good enough to do so.
I know this is
So-
awesome. So I'm glad I'm here today. This is awesome.
We
glad
don't
you're here,
have
too.
enough time. Yeah, I am. I'm definitely very glad that you're here, man. We don't really have time to get into too much big stuff here at the before the break. So just want to run a couple things here. We'll go through the chat here. Of course, we've got all this stuff in the chat room talking about Brian, talking about how you know, Brian's beard would be rubbed. Brian's getting a lot of love today in the chat room simply because he's back and everybody was afraid. Grumpy's asking over there, NASCAR is a sport. Yes, it's a sport. We've had that conversation before. And even though you're driving in a circle, gosh, I tell you, the amount of hate over NASCAR just breaks my heart.
I tell you what, if you understand the history of NASCAR though, it's pretty cool. I mean, they started out as a bunch of moonshine runners. That's really where NASCAR started. So that's kind of cool when you think about it.
they've done a really good job of concealing that fact. Like when you talk about NASCAR, they don't talk about Ray Parks, who was running a moonshine business, who became a multi-millionaire because of that, and because of running numbers, all that back in Atlanta, and the amount of moonshine that they ran, the amount of cars that they lost. And they also don't talk about the connection with Henry Ford, who absolutely hated alcohol, but his entire industry of building cars is what fueled the moonshiners down in the South. It made him so angry that those guys were actually running those cars. Yeah. I mean, like it is an amazing sordid history, but like people like John Dillinger and Clyde from Bonnie and Clyde fame were writing letters to Henry Ford and telling him, hey, thanks for creating the V8 because we can outrun police officers and we can hit 2 or 3 banks in a day. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, more of our shenanigans, more of Brian's beard rubbing and whatever else we come across. So keep it locked in right here on The Breakdown. All right, so this is a short break because we were about 2 minutes late. So we've got 1 minute and 25 seconds before we start back up here. So if y'all need to get coffee or use the restroom or anything,
and don't forget to buy some Tigers. Don't forget to buy some Tiger's Blood beard oil.
Oh gosh, what is that? Tiger's Blood beard oil?
Yeah, it's from the local barbershop. I was being funny. I didn't do my product placement in today, so this has been a lot of fun, guys. This is awesome.
I'm glad you're having a good time, brother. I really am. And I'm also, as mentioned, I was surprised. I did not expect you to be here today.
I thought I mentioned to you yesterday I was coming on today.
Nope, I do not remember that. Because I had said, hey, you could call in anytime you want to call in. And you indicated that you didn't feel like you would. So I was like, oh, okay, well, he's going to get home from the hospital. He's going to rest and all that stuff. So I totally understand.
You know what? When I got home yesterday, I literally, I got home about 4:00 yesterday, and I took a shower because I had not had a full shower in like a week, and trust me, I needed it. Got a nice shower, cleaned up everything. I ate, and then I went and laid down for about 4 or 5 hours, and I felt like a freaking king. My bed, I was just so glad to be in my bed. It was awesome. And then, so I got up and did a little bit of stuff around the house the other day, and then I went back to bed last night about 2:00, and I'm like, I was up and ready to go. So
good deal, man. I'm very, very happy. Very, very happy.
I look forward to this, man. This is one of my best times. And we got dude,
hold on just a second. Be quiet. We are so off today. Welcome back to The Breakdown, everybody. Thank you all so very much for staying with us during that break. We really do appreciate everybody that is hanging out with us and chilling on this wonderful chilling. That sounds like a 90s punk. Hanging out with us over here on the Breakdown. Don't forget, you can check us out on YouTube today, which we found out just this morning, right before we went on the air, that we could go YouTube live. So very excited. We're streaming over there. Hang out and chat there. You can also join us over on Facebook, where the show is also being broadcast live. And hanging out with Brian and Erica today, and all the jackholes in the Breakdown Nation as well. So thank you very much, folks, for that. This hour, we got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. We've got some music, some other sports-ish stuff. I don't think the NASCAR thing really worked for our sports stuff, because it wasn't necessarily a sports story. It was a bad theology. So we've got some sports stuff coming up that Erica's going to talk about, her absolute love and fascination. You can see the look in her eye. You can just tell she wants Nick Saban so bad.
Oh yeah. Wow. Whew.
She wants Nick Saban worse than a nurse in Paducah wants Brian's beard.
I'm going to need Jesus before we talk about that.
So we've got that coming up here. First thing we're going to do this hour is discuss the top 3 things we think you should know. We've got some folks down in Texas that are on the Zoom, or I'm sorry, on chat right now in YouTube and on Facebook, and they are hopefully not in the wake of, but we also have some listeners that are over in Oklahoma that I'm aware of. And I haven't seen any updates from them yet on Facebook this morning, but over in Texas, there's one dead and dozens hurt as tornadoes hit Texas and Oklahoma. Powderly, Texas, tornadoes tore through parts of Texas and Oklahoma on Friday, killing at least one person, injuring dozens of others, and leaving dozens of homes and buildings in ruins. Tornadoes hit hard in McCurtain County, Oklahoma, in the southeastern corner of the state. Cody McDaniel, the county's emergency manager, confirmed one death, although he didn't immediately provide details. There was a total destruction on the south and east sides of Idabel. Stephen Carter, an emergency management coordinator from McCurtain County, said, and Carter told the paper people were still trapped late Friday. Governor Kevin Stitt and his search and rescue teams and generators were being sent to the Idabel area. And he tweeted out that he was praying for Oklahomans. How insensitive for him to say he's praying for them impacted by the tornadoes. But anyway, so I know we have some folks over there in Oklahoma. I hope that they are okay. I mean, it is, obviously tornado season, and this kind of stuff's going to happen. It's so weird because you can always tell when this crap's going to happen because it just hits the season. But here we were like in the 40s the other day. We had our first frost late last week, and then yesterday it was like in the 70s. And you can always tell the wind's starting to blow, and something's coming. So I hope everybody's okay down in Texas and all of our listeners and such down there as well. So I don't know if y'all know much about that.
I knew it was coming. I mean, saw the warnings and everything that they were looking for bad weather.
Yeah.
But I didn't see much about what happened last night.
Yeah, I've been watching. There's I don't want to mention her name, but as soon as I saw that it tore through Oklahoma, the one person I know that's down there, I jumped on her Facebook to see if she was all right. But nothing's been posted on her page. So those folks in the chat that are regular listeners to Mojo, you probably know who I'm thinking of, Miss Oklahoma. But if you hear anything from her, let us know, or if she's out there listening, just drop us a line, make sure you're okay. I remember, goodness, just the tornadoes. The biggest thing about that is because everybody always gives weathermen a bad name. They're like, oh, that's the only, and I've said it before, it's the only profession you can lie. You can pretty much lie about it, be 100% wrong on, and still get paid $50K.
Yeah.
And it's like, but in these situations, like you
right,
have to take them to the extreme. It's like, hey, there is a possibility that they're gonna send you that a tornado is gonna come your way and destroy your entire life, and then like it's a bright sunny day.
And have you ever noticed the weathermen are like minor celebrities on any of the shows?
Yes, they are. They are. Come on. So, there's a weatherman down in Jacksonville, Tim Deegan. He was like a prize surfer or whatever, super stud. Tim Deegan did the weather down in Jacksonville. I remember him. And then he was involved in some sort of scandal too. And one of the hosts had to leave and go to a different station. Yeah, the weathermen are celebrities for sure, I think.
I remember growing up, there was a guy here in Cincinnati that was in Cincinnati. His name was Ira Joe Fisher. Remember that name, Aaron? You ever heard that name?
Sounds very familiar. It sounds very familiar.
Ira Joe Fisher. And he started in Cincinnati. And then he went like big time. He had his own TV show and he got on to, it was maybe like Good Morning America or something ridiculous. But his whole shtick was that while he was doing the weather, he was drawing cartoon caricatures. And that was like his shtick. That's what he, and so he became like an instant, like this celebrity for doing stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen preachers do that. There was a local Baptist preacher that used to do that. Like he would have a big, huge canvus behind him.
Why are you slamming on the Baptist? Do you not know? I've got Baptist people listening today.
First off, those folks that are listening would slam on that Baptist too, because if they're Reformed guys and you have you have any preacher that's standing in front of a congregation and he's doing like a draw by and paint by numbers canvas behind him while he's talking, those Reformed guys would bash him just as hard.
I think you're right.
Pentecostal Reformed or anything. Because ask your Reformed buddies if John Calvin or Martin Luther or Ulrich Zwingli or
who would do a
John
paint by
Knox.
number while they're preaching.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? John Knox standing before Bloody Mary talking about how the mass is idolatry and risking his life for the gospel in Scotland. Yeah, he's gonna be preaching to Mary, Queen of Scots, Bloody Mary, with the paint by numbers.
Yeah.
By the way, I just have to give a shout out to all those folks on Monday who put out those incredible Reformation Day memes. Some of those were stinking hilarious.
Oh man, I had a bunch.
No,
of
the
those.
door's fine. I'm just fixing your theology.
Okay, I need
Oh
to
my
add
gosh.
theological humor enthusiast to the dating profile.
Exactly. That is hilarious.
Theology memer.
I've got a feeling that this dating profile is going to take a life of its own at some point in time.
It might.
It's like they're going to want to date your profile more than they're going to want to date you. Put a beard on that
Exactly.
profile. It's going to be like a pimp. It's going to be the Charlie Sheen of dating profiles.
The title of the profile is Brian, the man, the myth, and then legends all in capital letters.
No. That needs work. That needs work.
Yeah.
We need to
Okay,
work on
well,
that.
there we go. There we go.
Man, myth is right, but legend part we got to put there. There's a play on words in there that we need.
Like 90% myth and like 10% legend.
That's what she said.
The man, the myth, the legend. Oh man. There's that. I don't know why in my top 3 things you should know are all based on death. But there's the other one. So India, I don't know if India's Gujarat state suspends, not Indiana, suspends senior local administrator for the bridge collapse. Did you see this? What do they call them? Not citizens, pedestrian bridge that was in Morbi, India.
Oh yeah, that looked
collapsed.
bad.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. I'm going to play a video here for the folks that are watching via Facebook or YouTube. So I'm going to get that locked and loaded here. But it says here that the senior administrative official in the Indian town of Morbi, which is kind of odd because when I saw that, I thought it said morbid. But Morbi has been suspended by the Gujarat state government following the collapse of a bridge that led to the death of 135 people.
Yeah.
It was packed with sightseers from around the Diwali and Chhath Puja festivals when it gave way. This is last week, plunging about 33 feet into the water. The bridge, 233 meters in length, 1.25 meters wide, was originally built in 1877 and had been closed for 6 months for repairs until last week. Police have so far arrested 9 people related to the incidents on charges of culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Those arrested including ticketing clerks, 3 security guards who were on duty when the bridge collapsed, and contractors that had been in charge of the repair work. Now, I understand, if it's a contractor, I understand if it's the, somebody that had something to do with the repairs, but arresting a ticket clerk, I mean, like, what is a ticketing clerk? How can they be the ones to stop anything like this? I mean, they're all they're doing is taking tickets. So I don't understand that.
The only thing I could think of when I read that was, was there a limit? Were they over the max for how many people were supposed to be on the bridge? Is that why the security guards and the ticket people are? Because that's it. What else could they have done? The contractor, totally understand because it was just repaired, literally just finished.
Around here, Erica. That's why we have you on here, because you make smart statements like that, like the capacity of the bridge.
She makes us look good.
I didn't know what. That's the only thing that makes sense.
You said that wrong, Brian. She doesn't make us look good. We make her look good.
Right.
Oh,
seriously.
Sorry, it's hospital brain. It's hospital brain, Chunker. It's okay, buddy.
I know it's
Brian,
a lot of pressure to be my redemption, but
Okay. Now who's comparing who to Jesus? Come on now. Come on. Oh my God.
Here we go. Let's take a look at this bridge just so you have an idea of what this looks like if you're watching over on Facebook or YouTube. Here's the bridge collapse, the aftermath, not the actual collapse, but the aftermath here of the bridge collapse. Please do not play an ad. Don't do this to me on my first day on YouTube as the YouTube celebrity influencer. All right, warning, this does contain sensitive and distressing content. Here we go. You can just see the thing is twisted. And then as they zoom in, there are people, children, all these folks trying to climb up the netting that is on the side of the bridge. I mean, look at that. Metal is just twisted and torn, and it looks like it just got ripped in half at one section of that. gosh, that is terrible looking, man. Terrible looking right there. I mean, you think about like I always think about, and this is kind of, a little bit morbid, I guess. I always think about what it's like, for you to be alive 1 second and then dead the next second. And can you imagine though, like instantly, what would happen if you died instantly? But could you imagine being trapped underwater with that bridge and you can see the lights above you and you can hear people above you, but you cannot move and you just slowly lose consciousness as you're drowning underwater in this like mangled bridge collapse?
I'm going to say this about that. I cannot imagine drowning would probably be one of the worst ways of dying.
The absolute worst. I'm terrified. I'm pretty sure that's how I'm going.
Because I know when my mom was really sick and her kidneys didn't work, the doctor was explaining to us when she coughed and things like that, that it was basically she was drowning from inside her body, where her body was just being overwhelmed by all the fluid. And I can't imagine that would be rough. And Rusty, I was thinking the exact same thing because we're talking about India. What about crocodiles? I mean, is that why they're not trying to swim away from the bridge as opposed to because Reformed Outdoors made the comment. He's like, I would think that swimming away from the bridge would be better than trying to climb up on the bridge. And I'm wondering the same thing.
It depends, I guess.
Because when I was looking at that video, I was looking to see if there was like critters coming at them, because I would imagine like crocodiles and whatever else is in India that would be,
because why is it a tourist attraction?
Exactly.
Like it's a walking bridge. What's the attraction? Probably the giant crocs.
I was gonna say, is it like the scene in Indiana Jones where you like they fall down
exactly
and like
what I'm
thousands of
thinking.
crocodiles are jumping on top of them?
Right.
That's ugly.
So,
Sorry.
I wonder about that. So this is India Bridge. So this is in Morbi. Let's see. It was the Diwali festival. I'm wondering about that because I know like here in Northern Kentucky, we have the Purple People Bridge, which used to be a car bridge. I mean, I have like 5 bridges going over from Kentucky to Cincy.
Right.
And there is a bridge that is specifically for walking, and they have the road is petitioned off, so you can actually walk through the middle of it. And there's festivals and all that kind of stuff down there. And, I don't know if it's shut down during the Ebian fireworks around Labor Day. But
have you ever walked across that bridge, Aaron?
I'm trying to think if I walked across. Yeah, I've walked halfway across it, I believe.
It's really cool. That bridge is so there's like several times a year where they petition that off, and they actually have restaurateurs come out and actually turn the bridge into a restaurant. So like they will come out and they'll set up tables and you can sit out in the middle of the river on the bridge and actually be served like you were sitting in a restaurant. So it's the Purple People Bridge is pretty cool. And at one point in time, they had the where you could walk across the top of the bridge, which I think that went pretty crazy. I'm trying to think of where it was at, but they had like so if you ever heard the thing over or the bridge that was in Sydney, Australia, where people would pay extra money to walk across the top of the bridge. They tried to do that in Cincinnati, which it was about 80 feet taller than the regular bridge. But I think people got away from that pretty quickly. But the Purple People Bridge is pretty cool.
I would do it. I would walk across the top of that bridge.
Yeah, well, I think the railing is still there. I just don't think they give the guided tours anymore.
I don't know if I would. I don't know how much I would pay for it, but I would. I'd walk across the top of something like that.
Oh, it was expensive. That was the other thing is to either walk across the bridge for free or to walk across the top of the bridge, which was like $45 or $50 a person.
No,
I'm like, no, I'm good. I could just walk across the bottom of the bridge. Thank you.
Yeah, my wife has a thing about bridges. And she has a thing about she doesn't like to drive on like the main highway on 75. She doesn't like to drive across bridges, and she doesn't like when people point or like put their I don't know anybody likes this, but it's especially a pet peeve of hers if somebody like reaches across the front of her face. So whenever I'm on the bridge or a bridge, I always like extend my arm to the passenger side right in front of her face, and I'm like, "Hey, baby, look at the river. Look at that over there," and just to annoy her because she loves me and I love her. That's what we do.
Oh,
We annoy each other,
and you
but-
realize one day she's going to bite you, and I'm going to laugh when you come bleeding.
She did.
know?
She has
I'm
bit me.
gonna laugh when you come bleeding. Listen to that.
Yeah, she's gonna bite me on a bridge that's 35 miles away. I'm gonna wait till Saturday to bandage it up, and I'm gonna show on cam that it's like
I'm gonna
gushing.
rip it
Like,
open.
so she popped a vein. Yeah. Look what I haven't fixed, Brian, just so you can see it.
Hey, I'm on blood thinners. This is a reality for me now, right? I can die cutting myself shaving at this point.
Okay,
Well, you don't
wait.
you don't
you
shave.
shave?
That's you haven't been.
Do you shave?
Oh, you do. He does shave his head.
shave
yeah.
my
He does.
head.
Oh, you better knock that off. You don't, while you're on the blood
now
thinners, just don't do that.
I have an excuse to go to the professionals.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. All right, brother. Let's see what else. And sister, didn't mean that offensively. Let's go ahead. Speaking about death, there was a dude actually in Louisville, Kentucky, who for 321 days on his TikTok account posed in some kind of like in multiple locations as a dead man. And so he would just have like his TikTok would just be videos of him like laying against the wall or acting like he was dead in some way. And his whole point in doing this was to acquire a part to be an unalive person in a movie or television show. That was his entire goal. Well, he got his wish. It came true. Somebody reached out to him from CSI Vegas, and they want him to come on the show to actually play a dead guy.
That's awesome.
I mean that, yeah. He's from he's from E-Town actually, and not Louisville, but E-Town, and so TikTok makes stars. TikTok gives people their.
I mean, if you know
their
what you're
wings.
trying to do, that's great.
Exactly.
You set the goal, reached it.
Well, who is it? Was it Dylan Mulvaney? I think it was. Is the guy that the guy who now pretends like he's a woman, or I'm sorry, he pretends like he's a little girl, and
Yeah,
he got to
do
interview.
not.
Yeah, he got to interview Joe Biden. So I mean, hey, TikTok does make stars.
I cannot even with Dylan Mulvaney. That
I know, right?
thing
That's terrible.
is preposterous.
Oh, he's like a
That's not
freaking
a satire,
cartoon.
though. That's not a satire though, right? I mean that's
No,
not
it's not satire.
No, he
No.
is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not satirical. That like the dude actually thinks that he is, or he's dressing up like a
A
girl.
No, he
12-year-old?
knows, no.
A
He-
12-year-old
He
girl.
knows he's not a girl. He is
Yes.
acting like a cartoon character.
Yes, like one that exists, not
Yes.
just one he made up in his head.
Yes, yes.
One that's actually out there.
It's horrible. It's horrible. I didn't mean to take us away from that, Aaron. I'm sorry, but that's
No, I'm
what-
gonna have to check this out now. I'm gonna have to check it out now because I vaguely remember something about this, but I'm now I'm confused. I'm gonna have to check it out.
we talked about
So-
this in chat this week, I believe, didn't we, Erica? Because I
Yes.
made a comment. This is like a living cartoon.
Yes.
The guy has come out as a girl, and I'm not talking a woman. I'm talking a girl.
A girl.
Come out as a
Okay,
girl for 200.
I know, so I know this. Yeah, now this is the dude who posts up the TikToks about like being on his period and period products and all that stuff for pads and things, and he tries to tries to show what it's like to be on your period and all that, right?
I have never
Yeah.
watched his TikTok other than
Yes.
just a couple of the highlight reels, but I do know that he made a comment. Him and Bruce Jenner, excuse me, Caitlyn Jenner just got into
No, dude,
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah. So okay. So him and Bruce Jenner just got into a big Twitter battle just recently. Because I guess Jenner decided that you're not really trans.
You're not really
Last
trans.
name on that.
Yeah, you're not really trans. And so there was like this whole big battle going back and forth about how can one trans person tell another trans person that you're not trans.
So Jenner told Mulvaney that Mulvaney is not trans enough.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
He told him he was
just-
trans appropriating.
Yes, he was trans appropriating. Yes, that was the word. That was awesome. Oh my
Here's-
god.
Trans appropriating.
Yeah,
Yes.
like
yes,
cultural appropriation,
yes.
trans appropriation.
You're not really trans. You just want to be trans, or you want to
Mhm.
play woke trans.
You're
And
just playing trans.
A
So
lot of people have made that a lot of people have made that argument about Mulvaney.
right.
Is that his claim to fame was he was a Broadway actor and everything like that, but his claim to fame was that that he went on TikTok and started acting this way
And got
then,
famous.
And then it got famous. So now he just assumed the role.
Right. And he ends up at the White House.
Yes. And he ends up freaking talking to Joe
Biden.
Lunatic Biden. Yes. Sorry.
About trans issues.
He becomes the spokesman for the trans community.
Yep.
Oh,
a cartoon character, a child is now their spokesman.
Now that
we
was
need to pray for America. This is so bad.
I don't think I don't think I realized.
This is.
I
so
don't think
bad.
that I realized that it was the same person that would that did that. But this is there is an account he had or she had a Days of Girlhood on TikTok.
That's it. That's the one. That's the one.
In daily videos. Yeah. So that
Yes.
was the one. But it was like they were like talking about or he was talking about like, you know, what it was like to use a pad or a tampon and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's the same guy. Yeah, I totally know. So I didn't know the name, but when I saw his face, it totally
And I'm
totally,
not okay. So
made me remember who he was.
if I'm going off the
rails.
rails, I'm sorry here, but I'm going to ask a dumb question. How can a guy how can a guy explain what that's like?
How can a guy use a tampon? I mean, honestly, where are you putting that, bro?
That's kind of what I was thinking, man. That's what I mean.
Yeah, like I don't even no. I mean, I mean, I don't get it. I can't see why I'm shocked to think about that because you know what it's, you know. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You know, I mean, it's already uncomfortable for the
No,
ladies
I
anyway.
get it. No, that's and that's my point. That's the whole thing is when a guy talks about that. Okay.
I mean, you'd have to have a urethra the size of a garden hose, honestly.
I don't think that's where he's putting it.
Where else is he going to put it? In his ear?
No.
Oh, okay.
A
Stop.
little lower and to the back.
Oh,
Oh,
this tape right.
what would you
Ain't
say?
right.
I said
It
this tape.
ain't right.
This tape right.
Oh, go to breakdradio.com, click on the microphone and leave your sound off. We'll be back with more tampon advice. It ain't the end of the show.
Fighting for your right to be wrong. Mojo 50. Supply chain disruptions, shortages, panic buying. Unfortunately, they've all become facts of life in 2021. The good news is you have preparewithmojo50.com as a hedge against all the craziness. At preparewithmojo50.com, not only will you find emergency food supplies.
Remember when that seemed like a fringe conspiracy theory thing to do?
Not so much anymore, right? Not only will you find the emergency food supply, but also water filtration, air filtration, all sorts of other tools that you can use in the event of an unforeseen situation or emergency, which with every day that goes by seems more and more likely. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Preparewithmojo50.com. If you want to keep food on the table, if you just want to maintain some sense of normalcy, preparewithmojo50.com is the answer. Preparewithmojo50.com.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair, the world's lightest wheelchair, is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $60 $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Welcome back to the breakdown today. We are losing control today. I think we're all just so excited to be alive on this beautiful Saturday morning. Thank you all for staying with us. You can check us out on YouTube and on Facebook. You can also be a part of the show. We'll lend you just a few moments of our time if you click on the microphone over at breakdradio.com and leave your sound off there. Let's see here. Let's get into this this sports. Well, actually, no, I didn't even do the third top 3 things that we think you should know, which is the Elon Musk laying off boatloads of Twitter folks over at Twitter as he's taken over there. In a Friday tweet shortly ahead of the planned 9 a.m. mass layoff, Musk says that advertisers are bailing due to pressure from activists, which has led to a massive drop in revenue. Despite no change to the company's content moderation, we did everything we could to appease the activists, Musk added. And Twitter, let's see, several brands have paused advertising campaigns with Twitter, including food giant General Mills, Oreo maker Mondelez, pandemic profiteers Pfizer, and Volkswagen's Audi. So after all these mass layoffs over there, all these groups are now no longer advertising. And, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, I don't know what he expected to happen. I mean, the world did not want him taking over Twitter anyway. And now that they're doing this, the amount of folks that are running for cover or trying to appease all the leftist wokest activists seems like it's going to be a dip right now.
You know, I really think, Aaron, we've got a woke awareness wave coming in America where people are just tired of everybody's opinion. And, you know, it's to the point where I think people are, yeah, you can have your opinion, and I don't care if you have your opinion, and I don't care what you do or what you say. Here's where I'm having my issues is that just because one person in a crowd is a Karen or a Ken or whatever you want to call them, that doesn't mean the rest of the crowd has to bow down to what you're saying. And I think people are finally starting to get to the point where, you know, and you've got major politicians that are attacking Musk because of the whole layoffs and the whole thing. I know AOC, I guess, I don't know if you call her a major politician, but you've got AOC that made several comments and they got into a Twitter battle, and finally Musk just shut her down by saying, quit picking or quit hitting on me. I already have a girlfriend. I mean, so it's to the point where some of these folks are actually trolling the trolls. And I think at some point in time, people are starting to realize, I don't care what you think. I'm going to be me and you deal with it.
You be you, boo.
That's exactly right.
I think if you're smart, you would get in now. I think that's what maybe it's going to take a dip, right? But these people that are screaming are most of the activists in most of the woke issues. It doesn't even matter which one you pick. They're the smallest percentage of the population. Yes. They're just being given the platform to make a lot of noise, right? So fine, lay them off, get rid of them, let the advertisers complain. Think about the advertisers that are out there that can pick up the slack. There's money out there. It's not like, and the people with the money aren't the ones that are making all the noise. Those are the people that are just complaining. The people with the real bank are now the ones that are going to come out and get in on Twitter because they're not going to be regulated. They can advertise and they can make their money and they can do what they need to do without being shut down. And there's still some kind of moderation core that the employees say is still in place. So what level of censorship is still left, I don't know, but lay them all off. You saw that thing I posted about the day in the life of a Twitter employee. It's friggin' ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering, like, so everybody created their own platforms after Twitter, freaked out. So you had Parler that was created, which Kanye was trying to purchase.
Right.
You had Trump eventually came out with Truth Network. Then you had Mike Lindell with the Frank Social and
Right.
Frank Speech and all that stuff. I'm wondering what could be done, and I don't know if they want to work with Elon or if he's interested in it. I wonder what would be done if you could bring back Trump, like get rid of Truth Social, get rid of Frank's Speech, consolidate all of that stuff, and everybody pull their resources together. I mean, because I know
And
Mike Lindell, that guy's got to be hemorrhaging money right now because of the stance that he's taken over the past several years and his activism that he's had since Trump was president. I mean, he's got to be hemorrhaging money. So if he throws in his somehow, support behind Elon or get some kind of share of Twitter and all of those guys come back, I honestly think that if Trump comes back, that would probably bring an influx of some type of cash there. But what
right.
I don't want to see is I don't want to see Twitter become the echo chamber of conservatives. Like I kind
No.
of like going over there and reading the nut bags and the stupid comments and all that and the crazy tweets by these wackos. I like that. But I mean, all of the folks that are leaving Twitter are proving the point exactly.
Right.
Twitter made the decision that Trump was going to be suspended. Like the company made the decision, and everybody, all the left were all excited about it. They're like, yeah, we'll do that. We'll allow that because
Right.
now we get to use Twitter and we get to say what we want. But then when somebody steps up and says, no, we're not going to eliminate anybody like that. Everybody has a platform to speak, and we're not going to moderate who the people that are here. Then the
Right.
left explodes with anger and they start this, quoting fingers, mass exodus from it. And it's like, well, who really agrees with free speech here? Is it the people that say we're going to set the course, and if you say something stupid and offensive, I believe in your right to say said stupid and offensive things? Or is it the other side who says, oh no, you're not going to say absolutely anything with which we disagree? I mean, the people that are setting the course for free speech are the ones who say unfettered speech allows you to say stupid and insane, ridiculous things.
Right.
Well,
I want. Oh, sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and the thing is anybody who really talks about free speech will say the same thing, or most will say the same thing. I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. And
Right.
and in the end, what's going to happen is if your speech is unpopular, then people are going to start looking at you and go, guess what? I don't like you. I'm not listening to you no more. It's not that we're going to try to cancel you. It's just that we just don't want to hear you. You
Right.
can say anything you want, but if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, it'll still make a noise. I'm a firm believer. You can say anything. You can say hateful speech. You can say racist speech. You can say bigoted speech. You can say vulgar speech. I don't care what you say. I'm going to defend your right to say whatever you want to say. Now, there's consequences for that speech, and that's on you. Okay. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that we as people should go out and be hateful and nasty and mean to other people groups or or just be just vulgar all the time. But I'm saying you should have that right. That's what America's freedom of speech is.
Right.
Just because you get your feelings hurt doesn't mean I have to shut up.
I make the jokes. I want AOC. I want Maxine Waters on Twitter. I want them out there. That's my
Yes.
material, right? I mean, I want that. And I want them to be able to say that so people can see how crazy they are. Like when people tell you what they're thinking and what they're going to do, you should listen to them. And I want
And-
them to have it all out there. I want
And
it all
you
out
hit it
there. I
on
want you
the
to say
head.
it.
Yes, you hit it on the head when you said you let the crazies say what they're thinking. For
Yes.
too long, we have filtered the public and we've let them keep the quiet part quiet. If you let a lot of these, do you remember, Aaron, a few years ago when Maxine Waters made that comment when she was in a congressional meeting with all of the oil gurus, and she made a comment about how you think that this is a big deal now. Wait until you see the government. How'd she put it? She said something about wait till you see the government take over your companies, or I forget.
Right. Take
Whatever.
over your companies, take over your industries, take over your business. Like
She-
they were,
Yeah, she said something about socializing, and then all of a sudden
socializing
she,
the gas. Yeah.
yeah, and then she backtracked And she said, wait till you see this Democrat social. I mean, just take over your companies. And I thought, she's saying the quiet part out loud because nobody's telling her to shut up.
Right.
Yeah. Just let her talk.
Just let them talk.
Just let them talk. And honestly, it's the same. It's the same for all politicians. You let them talk long enough. Oh,
they're
man,
going to tell you
gonna
exactly what they're thinking.
What they think.
Yes.
Right. And I want to know that.
Yes.
I want to know exactly what you're thinking. Right.
100%.
Yes.
The whole
Because
point.
We want to be able to make fun of it, and we want you to be able to expose yourself in the proper way, not like expose yourself, but expose yourself so that we can so that you admit, if you admit you're crazy, if you talk about and admit your crazy, stupid ideas, I sound less crazy.
You don't even have to admit it. Just put your stuff out there and let everyone and let other people decide what they think of it, right? Like if you want to put all your stuff out there and everyone thinks you're normal, I think you're crazy. Okay, you win. Whatever. I'm gonna think what I'm gonna think, and you can think what you want to think. But I want them to say it. Tell me that you think it's normal that Dylan stinking Mulvaney should be at the White House talking to the president who doesn't know what his name is or what day it is. Yeah, that's a great idea. If you think that's a good idea, I want to know. I want to know who you are. Tell me.
Exactly.
And I think people will tell you exactly who they are if you just listen to them.
Yeah.
Yep. And we will listen to exactly who you are if you head on over to breaktradio.com, click on the mic at the bottom right-hand corner, and leave a sound off, which we have one right now. Let's play the sound off right now.
Re-record. Hey, Aaron. Okay, so he snuck out of the room to the bathroom. I can talk. Yeah, so I checked on our pal in Oklahoma, and she's doing just fine. And glad we checked on her. And then the topic about death, drowning and whatnot, yeah, that would be scary, but I feel like if I could possibly be revived by someone, that would be much better, coming back to life. If I'm on fire, I don't want to see what I look like after I've been burnt to a crisp like bacon. So there's that.
That's a really good point. That was Deb. She's out of Texas town. Thanks for calling. Thanks for checking on our friend too. We appreciate that. And if she's listening, thank you very much. We're glad you're okay. But that is absolutely right. Like if you're drowned, you can be brought back. Like somebody can resuscitate you. So it, you kind of have that little bit of hope as things begin to fade. But I think burning alive would probably be the most like heinous way to go.
I agreed with that.
That's gotta be. Yeah.
It takes longer.
Because yeah, it does. I mean, and the amount of pain that you suffer while you're dying. And then, and if like Deb said, if they brought you back, like what would you look like? You would just look like the toxic Avenger.
And I don't know how they know this, but don't they say drowning is supposed to be fairly peaceful? I don't know. I don't know how anyone knows that, but I
yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really know.
I don't even know that, but I think I've heard that. I don't think I just made that up out of nowhere. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Yeah, I mean, because like you think I was talking to my daughter about this the other day because we were talking about serial killers, and we were talking about the serial killers out of DC, the DC snipers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of funny because we were on the highway when we were talking about this, but I was like, can you just imagine you're driving down the road? I said, because they would park their car, they would face the direction of the highway, people that were coming towards them, north, south, east, west, whatever it was. And they would just pick their targets out, and then they would just be like, just bam, just kill people. You imagine you're like driving along and you're going to work and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be at work, or oh, I'm stuck in a traffic jam. And then all of a sudden, the scene flashes and you're either standing in heaven or you're suffering in hell. Like, it's just, I wonder how disorienting that could be. Or if you automatically know, hey, I'm dead and this is my eternal resting place right now. I think about that, like what would it be like if I'm driving and then like, oh, hey, there's my wife. I want to give her hey, look, is that Jesus? Where am I? I've always just but with drowning, it seems like that would be a much slower process, because when you drown or when you slowly die of cancer or whatever it is, your body shuts down, your brain shuts down and all that. I wonder how quickly it happens.
Okay. So that's actually where I think, and I'm gonna have to look it up and I'll post it, but it does not take long to drown. That is one thing. And I'm gonna look it up. I don't know why I morbidly remember this.
why I'm morbidly talking about what it would be like to just die in a split second. But Jennifer over on YouTube says, can't imagine the choking part is peaceful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jay May's not. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm with you, Jen. I mean, I had to be coaxed onto a ship with
Oh,
medication.
really? With medication. It was cocaine, but like medication.
Yeah, it's very
Carolyn,
difficult.
it was
It's very
people, but-
difficult for me.
But Deb says again over here, she says, yes, it would be scary, but not as painful as being burned alive.
Yeah,
Absolutely. My
the
wife
pain
can't
of being
even
burned
watch.
alive would be horrific, and it would take a while too.
Yeah, and my wife can't even watch movies that have people that catch on fire. And like if they have like the scenes with somebody screaming, she just can't take it. But anyway, yeah, it's that's her fear of being burned alive. That's her worst fear. But yeah, that's definitely a morbid way to go there, a morbid way to think about that also. But what else do we have to cover here? We got a little bit of time left. Hey, this lottery, actually, we'll cover that in just a second. So there was the story we started to cover earlier. Let's declare a pandemic amnesty. Let's focus on the future and fix the problems we still need to solve. That Miss Emily Oster over at the Atlantic says that in April of 2020, with nothing else to do, my family took an enormous number of hikes. We all wore cloth masks that I had made myself. We had a family hand signal, which the person in front would use if someone was approaching on the trail and we needed to put on our masks. What? That's a little bit too far. Once when another child got too close to my then 4-year-old son on a bridge, he yelled out at her, all caps. So that's how you have to read all caps. And then a little squirrely kid reading that. These precautions were totally misguided, she admits. In April 2020, no one got the coronavirus from passing someone else hiking. True. Outdoor transmission was vanishingly rare. True. Our cloth masks made out of old bandanas wouldn't have done anything anyway. True. And then she says, but the thing is, we didn't know. Well, first off, you may not have known.
Right.
But there was a large number of people who knew that the cloth masks weren't working. As a matter of fact, even Dr. Fauci himself said everybody wearing masks is not going to be helpful.
And
Everybody
they tried to
knew
tell
that
you.
anything less than it. What's that?
And they tried to tell you. They didn't just know.
Yeah.
We didn't just know. We were screaming it.
Yeah, and then like and he even said, in the majority of people, they were like anything less than the N95 mask would not even begin to help. And then something that didn't fit completely airtight around your face would also not be helpful. So we're walking around the stores with these cloth masks on that people are wearing wrong underneath their nose, guys wearing them over their beards, just completely. We knew that the masks were not going to help, but this woman is saying that they didn't know at the time, and they're wanting to declare a pandemic amnesty because of their ignorance. And she said she's reflecting back on the knowledge thanks to a class that she's co-teaching about COVID, reliving the first year of the pandemic, discussing the important choices. So pretty much what she's saying here in this piece is that there were some people that intended to mislead with wildly irresponsible claims. But then there were other people who were just trying to be helpful with their incorrect guidance. But what we need to do is just say, all of those things, we're just going to forgive all of those things. And because they were done in ignorance, and we're just going to move on and learn from our past.
No.
And exactly.
No.
I mean, like, I'm frustrated at this.
Ignorance is not 9/10 of the law. Number one, there were serious laws violated on all kinds. And just because you say you didn't know any better does not absolve you of responsibility.
Exactly.
Number one. Number two, if you're saying I can be led around by the nose and made to do horrible things or mistreat myself and bully others because they refuse to mistreat themselves, I should just be forgiven when it comes out that I'm psychotic. No.
Yeah.
Well, and again,
Well, I mean,
this gets back to the conversation we had just a second ago. If you let people talk long enough, they'll tell you who they are. Okay.
Right.
I can do anything I want. I can be as mean as I want. I can cripple our economy. I can make you lose your job. I can attack you and call you a bad person. I can make you feel morally, less than anybody else because you won't wear the face diaper. I can make you do all this stuff. And then in the end, you just have to forgive me because I was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, by the
No.
way, let's just make sure that in every aspect of your life, you have no personal responsibility. Somebody
Exactly.
else will take care of it. Somebody else
Exactly.
caused it. Somebody else will fix it. Wow. That's a great recipe for socialism. Let me just hang out.
And where is the amnesty on the kids over the past 2 years that are 2 years behind in school? The increased social anxiety, the increased child molestation, the increased suicide, the people we've lost over this, the increased depression that we have in children and families, the fractures that we see in church life and home life and school life and work life that have happened. Where's the amnesty for all of that, all of the havoc you've caused? I'm all about saying, okay, you jacked up, I'm going to forgive you for that. Yes, there's still consequences to this. What about the economic despair that we have thrust ourselves into because we had to listen to the COVID closures and the destruction of our economy slowly crippling us? All of a sudden it's like, oh, you know what? We got the cloth mask wrong, but all the people that were fired, all of the COVID tracking, all the people who were kicked out of businesses, all the people who were blacklisted, all of the churches that fought over this,
And that's
all of that, we're
technical.
giving it
Right? Do you think that declaring amnesty for everyone who took the shot, pushed the shot, gave the shot, ordered the shot, supported the shot, do you think that if I'm the parent that did that to my child who was a soccer player in high school and came down with myocarditis and died on the field, do you think that because you've given me amnesty that I am now going to be okay with that? And you will have no culpability or responsibility for what I did? No, you're not helping anyone by granting amnesty for this.
Well,
Absolutely not.
I've said this before, and I believe this with all my heart. We live in a society of impetulant children. All right. I want what I want. You can't tell me I can't have it. And when I find out that it hurts me, it's your fault because you didn't stop me. And that's the way everybody feels right now, right? That's the way everybody. That's I was reading in the chat with Grumpy, and my heart goes out to you, Grumpy, because guess what? She took the shot because she thought she was going to have to, and she thought she was going to lose her job. I cannot tell you the number of folks who did not stand up for themselves because they thought they were going to lose their job, and some of them did lose their job, and some of them did stand up for themselves. My sister's in the same boat. What we just found out is that, with this whole thing with me in the hospital and everything like that, this looks to be like it's hereditary. And my little brother's got a similar situation. My sister took the vaccine, and knowing what I know now from the doctors that I talked to, my sister's life is in danger because not only did she have COVID, not only does she now have the vaccine that's causing the clotting disorders, but she has all the same symptoms that we had, not being able to breathe, not being able to walk, got blood clots. I mean, this is all stuff because somebody thought, hey, let's mandate you get this thing stuck in your arm and transform your DNA to whatever we say it's supposed to be.
And we're not going to tell you.
And we're not going to tell you what we're doing.
We're not going to tell you that is what is happening.
In fact, we're going to deny it. We're going to deny it, and we're going to say you're all a bunch of lunatics and you're all a bunch of conspiracy theories guys. And
kick you off YouTube. We're going to kick you off Twitter. We're going to kick you off social media. We're going to kick you.
Exactly.
We're going to fire you. We're going to censor you. We're going to shut you down. We're going to deplatform you. I mean, and the crux of this article.
And now they're all backpedaling it, right? The folks that were shutting everybody down.
Yeah, they're asking for amnesty now.
Yeah, they're asking for amnesty. Oh, sorry, we didn't mean to destroy your entire life and existence.
Because all the information is coming out. They can't stop the information. Not even Paul Pelosi getting beaten the head with a hammer by a gay guy is going to stop the information about the vaccine.
Oh, he was
coming
Republican.
Out.
You heard that, right? He's Republican.
I don't care what he was. I mean,
And the frustrating thing about this article is, first off, these folks are like, hey, we cocked it up, but you're just going to have to forgive us, except for those really wacky people that had really bad misinformation. And this paragraph here kind of shows me exactly where this woman is coming from. It says that one of the effects is many people have neglected their health care over the past several years, notably routine vaccination rates for children, measles, pertussis, etc., are way down. Now, listen, rather than debating the whole the role that messaging about COVID vaccines had in this decline, we need to put all our energy into bringing these rates back up. Well, how do we do that? How do we bring these rates back up? Emily Oster from The Atlantic asking for amnesty over your stupid mistakes in the past 2 years. She says pediatricians and public health officials will need to work tougher, or I'm sorry, we'll need to work together on community outreach. And here's the kicker. And politicians will need to consider school mandates. So now we see the socialistic part of this, where we reject what they label as misinformation. We accept what they got wrong, what they're willing to admit. And then we bring in daddy government here, the outreach of the politicians and the government to increase laws and mandates to make these required for children at schools.
Okay, we've talked about places I'm not allowed to go. School board meetings is one of them. However, I think that the point now that you're at with this is the parents. The parents, you pay their salaries. Teachers, it's public school. You pay their salary, you pay for the building, you pay for everything that they do. If you are not going to the school board meeting, if you are not standing up for your kids, the only person that I'm holding responsible right now is the parents. Period.
Yeah,
We're taxpayers.
even those of us that don't have kids pay for that crap.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, but if you go to the school board meeting, Brian, they're going to say you don't have anything to say because you don't even have kids. What do you know? Right. I mean, they're going to stand on that leg, but you better go. Because guess what? Okay, so maybe if you're not held responsibility for that now, maybe if you want to get some amnesty from, I don't know, some social justice group now, you got places to go later, and you're not going to be forgiven for that shit.
Right.
Yeah, that on top of the fact that some of those students that those teachers are training are going to be your next council members, PTA members, teachers, politicians, everything. So
yeah,
breaktbradio.com is the website. Click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. We got one final sound off before we head out of here for the day. Let's listen to this.
A Reformed Baptist, a Presbyterian, and a rabbit walk into a bar. The bartender looks at the rabbit, and the rabbit quickly says, "Hey, I'm only here due to autocorrect." Why should you always take 2 Baptists with you when you go fishing? If you bring one, he'll drink all your beer. If you bring 2, they won't drink any. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, awesome. You missed the last part of that too, Brian. I don't know if I want to play that or not. I'm not going to replay that, so forget it. You missed it. Real quick before we take off for the week,
I didn't miss it. I caught it.
All right, here we go.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
That's right, folks. This is the time where we scour the internet and say, what the foxtrot is going on in this world? We talked a little bit about the period products and the tampon inserts and where they would go and all of that wonderful things earlier here. But here is this What the Foxtrot story. CVS will now pay what's called a pink tax and drop prices on period products. CVS is taking a stand against the pink tax, tampon tax, and period poverty in 12 states where tampons and other menstrual products are more expensive. The period poverty. What in the foxtrot is period poverty?
Listen, this is ridiculous, right? This is because of this whole trend where women are complaining that it's unfair that they have to pay for menstrual products because men don't have to. So why should we have to? Right. That's their whole point. Isn't that their whole point?
I have to pay for period products. I have to go to the store and buy pads for my daughters. You know why? Because they're not buying them for themselves. I got to buy the stuff.
Okay, but this is
what it's like for a dude. I'm 6'2", I'm 350 pounds. I've got a beard sticking out. I'm wearing like a shirt stained with my dinner, and I'm standing in front of a shelf full of period stuff. And other dainty women are there looking at me like I'm some kind of Bigfoot monster. I'm like, I'm just here to get pads for my daughter, man.
Listen.
All right, folks, that's it for us today. We had a great time, and hopefully you did as well. Don't forget to share the show with as many people as you like. And until next time, make Christ supremely valuable. All right, we are out. Sorry about that, Eric. I didn't mean to cut you off on that very last time you said there. What were you about to say?
That is hilarious. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I have sent my son, whose beard is like down to here, he's 21, 22 years old. And I'm like, here, I'll take a picture of the box. This is what your sister needs. Can you please pick it up? You're going to be home before me. And I'll just get a text back from him that says, seriously? Like, seriously, question mark. Like, I'm doing this. I'm like, yeah, just you're fine. You got this. I'm like, it's good prep. It's good prep for later.
When I was growing up, I was so unbelievably embarrassed. I mean, I could not even watch a commercial about period products. I couldn't do it. I mean, if it were, I mean, doesn't matter what it was, tampon pad, I wouldn't even be caught dead saying the words. And then I get with my wife, and of course, obviously she, has a period, and she was telling me a story one time about this dude that she worked with, one of her closest friends. He was like 6'5", 350-pound black dude. The dude was huge. And my wife was like, she was at work one day and she just loudly proclaims, "I started." So she sends her friend, goes to the store and proudly walks in carrying a pack of pads for her.
Yeah.
Like, he grew up with like 4 or 5 sisters. It didn't bother him. And I'm like, well, if L-Dog can do this, I'm sure I can do this. I was just like, at that point, I'm like, I'm just doing it. It doesn't matter at this point. So I kind of got over that pretty quick after I got married.
It should be like, hey, can you stop and get milk?
Yeah, I don't think it should be, hey, can you stop and get milk? That's I'm not saying that I wouldn't do that, but I'm saying, come on, guys, let's
I need you to stop and get ketchup and pads.
Oh, that is hilarious. That actually sounds like something I would do to one of my brothers just for fun.
Oh wow. It's I don't know.
Well, the thing is,
Brian,
we have come to a place in our society where things that used to be considered private and used to be considered a matter of discretion is now just open for anyone and everyone. And
okay, I'm not saying that you should be peeing with the door open, but there are some things that you have to be able to do. It's a simple, look, if you're going to ask her to pick up your little blue pill at the pharmacist, then you got to be able to pick up something at the.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't ask her to pick up my little blue pill because I don't take a little blue pill.
Well, not yet.
Second of all,
Erica, you started to get a little defensive here.
Second of all, I don't think I would ever ask her to pick that up anyways, because even if I did do that, that would be a matter of us talking about it long before I ever went to the doctor and got the little blue pill.
Of course. I'm going to add bashful to the dating profile. I'm adding bashful.
I'm not bashful. I think
I
I'm
am removing
conservative.
I'm also removing the kitchen optional part because you are clearly way more traditionally based than you want to admit in your role assignments.
You know what? You can't be a prude about this, honestly, Brian, because think about it. With your age, if you actually do get a chick, she's probably going to be to the point where she no longer needs pads. She's probably already gone through the chain.
Just stop.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's rude. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm making a joke about your age, but no, seriously. I mean, like there are some things, that you just have to grow up about. I mean, like you go to the store, there is an entire shelf full of feminine products, an entire shelf full of them.
And again, I'm not arguing that. My argument comes from one thing and one thing only. I don't want people to know what kind of underwear I wear, so I'm not going to go around and flash out all my underwear. I don't care. I mean, look, I just think there's some things that. Well, no, I'm serious. I just think that there's some things that don't need to be discussed in a public forum. Like the. Okay, so did you see the CVS commercial?
We're not asking you to have a discussion. Like you walk up and you're like, I have to have these underwear because I hang left. We're not asking you to do that.
Yeah,
I mean, you walk into the store, you buy the stuff and you leave. It's not like you're talking to every woman on the way out. Look, I bought pads for my wife because she has a period each month. When you don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of a known thing.
It is a known thing, but it went from something that was a known thing, but it was on the quiet. It was on the DL to now where we're actually having, you know, they're doing these commercials in like, you know, 3 o'clock time slots where kids are watching TV. Kids don't need to know about pads.
No, okay, but I'll follow you on that. All right. So let me tell you, I was actually gonna bring that up. If you notice, I don't know how much TV you guys watch because I don't watch a lot of TV, but what I notice is that I don't see commercials for that stuff anymore. I really don't. And then I noticed my daughter was like, yeah, Mom, that's because it's on Nickelodeon. She's like, every other commercial on Nickelodeon is Tampax or, you know, some kind of feminine product, right? And I don't know, you know, me and my sociological development issue and background. I look at that as it goes right along with the earlier that girls started going through puberty. As that got earlier, because it wasn't, you know, that stepped up in age as people started to homogenize milk and put different hormones in the food that you're eating. Girls and boys start to mature faster, and now you have to advertise that to a younger age group was basically my
and I don't know if I'm to the point where I'm like, you know, kids don't need to see things about period. I mean, well, you know, if the parents,
if they're having it, they do need to see it. If they're having a period, they do need to see that. And there are 11 and a half, 12 and a half, 13. I mean, you have girls that are, I'm sorry, Brian, starting their period at like, you know, a much earlier age. So
you do. And
okay, but
again,
what happened? I'm sorry, but what happened to the moms and the parents talking about this? It doesn't have to be. Look, I don't need CBS, ABC, NBC, Nickelodeon. I don't need those folks instructing my kids on sexual hygiene.
No, not at all. But if you can't go to the store and buy it, how comfortable are you talking to your kids about it?
I don't care about going to the store and buying it. I don't want to see it I don't want to see advertisements for it. I know it exists.
Right. Well,
we know cars exist. We know the McRib exists. We know that candy.
We know
exists.
condoms
We know
exist, but
exist.
Do you see a lot of ads for condoms?
Are you bothered by Depends? I mean, is this just like a hygiene product thing that you have an aversion to?
Actually, technically, I am. I am bothered by it because what I'm thinking in of myself is I'm looking at this going, you know, hey, this is a discrete product that probably doesn't, you know, you know that grandma is not happy when I got my Depends and now I'm liberated. I can go out to the grocery store. No grandmother thinks that way.
I can go to the grocery store and buy pads for my granddaughters.
Exactly. No grandmother is excited that she has to wear Depends.
Well,
I don't know. You don't know that. It might be exciting to not have to piss yourself. You might not think it's the best thing in the world, but it might be more exciting to have that option than the one that says every time I leave the house, I have to bring extra clothes with me.
It might be.
Or think, you know, and it's also marketing. Like if you had a commercial and there's some old guy on there like, oh, I piss myself every time I stand up. I have to wear Depends. And that's a lot worse than somebody being like, you know what? I can go for a walk with my wife now because if I piss myself, I'm wearing a diaper. Like,
I'm okay.
It's like marketing,
I can change when I get home.
Hey, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, man. You got to go out the way you came in.
Yeah, for real. I mean, dude, come on. I mean, and like if you were throwing a fit, like if they had condom commercials during SpongeBob, I would be right there with you. I would be like, absolutely not. My kids, like you're watching SpongeBob and Patrick, you don't need to have a condom commercial.
Correct.
But this is something that naturally happens to young ladies. They may not know how to start the conversation with their parents. Their parents may be like, you know.
And you don't want them getting that information from each other. Because they don't know. I get it though, Brian. I think if there's something in between being comfortable buying it and then the guy who's walking out of the store without it in a bag. No, yes, I would like a bag, please. Put it in the bag, take it, go be private, but be okay to purchase it. You know.
I don't. Again, I don't have a problem.
You can order it on Amazon and have it sent in an Amazon Prime package with the Lord of the Rings advertisement all over it. You know.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem purchasing it. You know, I mean, I have purchased things for my girlfriend. I have purchased things for my sister. I have purchased things for my mother. I don't have a problem with that stuff. My part is that it is now public in everybody's face. And I don't care if it has wings. I don't care if it. I don't care. I don't need to see
Red Bull gives you wings. So does Always.
Exactly. I don't really get. You know, I
Oh
don't
my
need
God,
to see the technical readouts and specs of what the pad does. I could care less.
Oh, you don't like the little dotted lines
I
that show
don't-
you how much more coverage you get?
No. And
Or the commercials where they show you, and I've always wondered this as well.
And
Like
the
they have
fluid is not
commercials where they have the
blue.
tube. Yeah, that was my
it's
point.
not
Like they lay out the
blue.
pads next to each other, and then they pour it out, and I'm like, why don't they use red liquid? I mean,
Oh my
it's not
God.
blue.
Exactly.
Or
Why are
some
they
freaking
using
alien.
blue?
You
Like
guys,
you're from
okay.
Mars, and it's like, oh, this is these are pads for
Oh my God.
people from Tatooine.
Grumpy Stack is cracking me up.
That's funny. I don't know.
Oh my God. Because
Oh,
are we
man.
still in YouTube?
Yeah, we're still.
Yeah,
in
we're
YouTube.
still live right now. We're not on Mojo anymore, but we're live right now on YouTube and Facebook still. I
Oh,
don't even know. I
fantastic.
think everybody fled Facebook and ran over to YouTube as soon as we were there because there's
A big part of them did. Yeah, it was. And by the way, I think we may get kicked off YouTube the first time, Aaron. But I don't know. It just, to me, there's something about a certain level of discretion. I still don't think that there's any, oh geez, Grumpy talks about Brawny. Brawny's going to come up now with a new line of feminine products, right?
Yep. Yep.
We're gonna have to
See
with
it?
all these trans and drag queens out there. They're
Oh,
gonna have to be like, hey,
Right?
you need something
Oh
a bit
my
bigger
gosh.
than Always. You're gonna need a brawny.
They're going to come up with the dual use for it, right? Since the guys really don't need it and they don't actually have a hole for it. They're going to start advertising it as a great way to put your balm on it and take your makeup off. And these guys, these trainees are going to be taking their makeup off with tampons. It's going to be beautiful.
This
Oh,
is
my
crazy.
God.
I don't know. You know, again,
I'm sorry.
again, we go back to this, and like I said, I'm not embarrassed to buy it. I'm not embarrassed to. I know it's something that ladies have to have. I got no issue with that. It's just, where is the discretion? Because I still think, you know, there's like this ongoing thing now, and I've heard a lot of people talk about women that have had kids, and so whenever they laugh, they pee on themselves and things like that. And this is like becoming memes, and I'm like, we've all known this as long.
Right.
This is not something that's new.
No, and you
Let's
don't
get
need
talking
to
about
discuss
in
it.
public. Exactly.
Correct. I agree. I agree
I'm
with you
all
there.
for it.
Yeah, I agree with you
I'm
there.
all for it. Like you got to have the prep for it, you know, and
Yes.
because you got to be able to laugh at yourself. You got to be able to look at situations like that
Right.
and chuckle. Oh,
But
gosh,
it doesn't
man.
need
Oh.
to be like a giant
wife
public
just walked in
conversation.
and
There is still
started
such a thing
cracking.
as modesty, right? I mean,
Thank
Right.
you. I think, and that's my whole point. Is there such thing as
still
modest?
alive.
Yeah.
Sorry, my wife. I just pissed on myself. I should have been wearing my Depends. My wife walked in and she scared the crap out of me. I'm in
I
here
saw,
talking. We're in here
I saw
talking
you
about.
jump. I thought you got shocked by the microphone or something.
We're in here, Allison. We're talking about how L Dog purchased bought the pads for you that time and come walking into Wendy's like that, and that was like the defining moment in my life where I'm like, if L Dog can buy pads, then I got to be able to buy pads.
And
Yeah.
Brian
Well,
is
you-
not having any of it.
And he put that out on Facebook, Allison. He put that out on Facebook.
Here's
Bravely.
Allison. You know what? Oh my gosh! No, I can't. Here you go. Say it louder, baby.
I told Aaron he needed to man up.
Yeah.
Yes.
She told me I needed to man up.
Oh, man.
Nice. I like that. See?
Yeah. Yeah, she's she kind of, it just kind of happens. Like the thing about that, you know, like when you get married, you find out certain things happen. You know, like during pregnancy, certain things happen. During the process to get pregnant, certain things happen. And you know, like that's who you're sharing this stuff with.
And you know what?
all kinds
Brian,
of things you're sharing.
You should be more at ease going up and buying that, because at least then you are probably good. It's going to be assumed those aren't for you. Oh, what a nice guy, right? What a good gesture here. He's doing this for his girlfriend, wife, whatever, right? If you walk up there buying Preparation H, they're thinking it's for you. And it doesn't matter if you're buying it for somebody else. And that should be more embarrassing than purchasing a box of tampons.
See, and
Just
you all
saying.
think
Absolutely.
you all honestly think that I would buy that stuff in public. I have Amazon, baby. I buy everything on Amazon. I buy my
Like,
deodorant on Amazon. Okay.
The pastor don't purchase in public.
My purchase history is on Amazon. And I just recently
Oh
found
my
out
God.
that Walmart will deliver. Oh my gosh. I don't even have to go to Wally World anymore.
I can't. So, you know.
Well, we ought to there's some way if we can encapsulate this last like 10 minutes and put that as Brian's dating profile.
No,
Just to let them know
Yes.
exactly what they're
No,
getting
yeah,
into.
I'm telling you
A
right
man
now,
who will not buy you pads.
today's show is going to cause some adjustments to the profile, which is fantastic. Before we set it in stone, I think there's going to be a couple of adjustments, and then we'll be good to go.
So Brian, what do you think about like what about buying condoms? Would you ever buy condoms?
I have. I'm sorry. Is that funny? I mean,
oh, it's surprising. Like I'm trying to wonder why you would have needed to buy condoms.
That's none of your business, but that's beside the point.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, it's
You-
kind of obvious. There's only one reason to buy condoms.
I understand that, but I mean, like
He's fine with that, though. That's no
the only
problem.
reason to buy drugs, the only reason to buy condoms is so that you could fill them up with cocaine, swallow them, and be a mule to cross. You know, especially if you're not familiar with the ways of a woman. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Like, I understand the purpose and the necessity of condoms. I'm married. I understand that, but like, why were you buying condoms for someone else?
Okay,
For
so
yourself?
let's talk about this for a second. I mean, if y'all going to go there,
Yes,
let's
I
just
want
go
to.
there. I'm not saying that that I have ever
Tell me not to
done
embarrass
the
you, Brian,
deed, but I was preparing for the event. Okay, let's just leave it at that. I was preparing for
you
the
were
event.
preparing for. You're talking about sexual intercourse.
Yes,
Where you would lay with a woman
yes,
biblically.
Yes. God bless America.
So, did you? But you didn't use them. What did you do with them?
They're still in a drawer somewhere.
yelling at me
Yes,
from
I
the
don't
other
know.
room. I mean, what did you say? What did you say, Brian?
I said they're in a drawer somewhere. I guess I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay, listen, if you don't know where they are, it means they're expired. Throw them away. Do not count on them at this
I
point
would
if
not
they've
count
been
on them, guys.
anywhere
It
for
was-
that
it was
long.
A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Regardless of the point is I don't again. I didn't make a big deal about me. I didn't go on to a public TV station and say, "Hey, I need to buy condoms." I mean, let's face it, guys. There's something that
Nobody does. Nobody does. Like I never went on and announced, "Hey, I'm buying condoms."
yeah,
Tune
but
in
we have
tonight.
to we have to
I just
listen
walked in
about
and bought
period
condoms.
products.
It doesn't bother me. We could talk about condoms. We could talk about period products. Did you have to buy the Magnum, or were they like were they just like the regular condoms?
I am
Or
not
like,
going to
what size were
discuss
they?
this with you anymore. Stop.
Well, then we know it wasn't the Magnum, because if it was, you would be telling us.
Yeah, you would be telling everyone, and then that would be like a point of contention.
I'm not gonna discuss this anymore
Because that would definitely go on the profile. It's like
Yes, Magnum purchaser.
Magnum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Purchaser
Or
of Magnum.
actually, that would just be the whole profile, and then at the end, it would just be hashtag size Magnum.
The only thing longer than the beard. Hashtag Magnum.
Oh my God! You know
I
what?
would be going
Now,
crazy.
now I
Bloom,
want.
bloom.
Now I want a breakdown shirt with Brian's beard, and that just says that only thing longer than a Magnum. Yep.
That's awesome.
Here you go,
So-
Brian. There's your assignment for this week.
Here's the thing, guys.
Of course,
like I
with
said-
your own blood thinners like that, you're going to pass out if anything happens.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh,
Don't do
jeez.
all that blood rushing
Oh
into
my
any
God.
one area of your body is a bad medical issue right now.
Wow, she replied to my dating prof. He's gone.
Oh my
Hashtag Magnum. Hashtag narcolepsy. What are you going to say, Brian?
I'm not going to say anything.
He's gonna say, "I regret this decision wholeheartedly. I don't ever want to talk to you again. Please don't ever call me."
Why the F did I get up this morning?
I should have just stayed in bed.
Oh my
God.
gosh, that's fantastic. Oh man.
Well, I'm glad you were here. And next week
Yeah,
I'll
me
probably have
too.
a cool, fun background because I'll be in Alabama.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh
Aaron,
yeah, by the
Did
way,
you see I changed?
go ahead.
Did you see that changed the border down here on my thing?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh no, that's awesome, dude. No, I just noticed that. That looks great.
I took a link from or I took an idea from your header, and so I just added the 3 names in the different colors. So I thought that'd be cool.
Yeah, I really, I really like the. I know I designed it, but I like the new logo that I did with the square around it. You know, kind of, you know, I don't know. I just think it looks cool. And then it's the
Did
header
I
of my
see
Facebook page and also the breakdown page.
Did I see the one with the square around it?
Go to my or go to the Facebook page, my Facebook page, and look at the cover photo. I'm pretty sure I sent that to y'all.
Oh yeah, you did.
but-
Okay,
I saw it.
Yeah, that's good. I like that a lot too. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Very cool.
Oh man. This is also an announcement for everybody watching. Also, just a reminder to you all that next week we're gonna have to do the show. We have to record it sometime through the week and then broadcast it Saturday. It'll be a new show, but it won't be live. But if you can stream it somehow live, that'd be great. Just a reminder on that, because I'm going to be out of town next Saturday, but I don't want to go without having a new show. So we will do that. And then
All right.
Brian, if you can just pop the video up there and maybe go live via, YouTube and all that stuff. If you can, we can talk about the technical aspects of that later. So those people who are still watching the stream, we will have a new show, but it will not be live new show. So
Yay.
Hey, and by the way, all of those that are listening in Kentucky, we were going to do something special about this thing, but I'm going to give a personal shout out for anyone who's listening in Kentucky. Make sure that when you vote on Tuesday, you vote yes on Amendment 2. This is a major issue for Kentucky. Kentucky is trying to abolish abortion completely as a constitutional amendment. If it goes into effect, Kentucky will never, ever, ever be able to have legalized abortions again for any reason. And I think that it's a major step forward. The fact that this amendment has made it to the ballot. There are a lot of very anti Amendment 2 commercials out there. There's a lot of fear mongering going on. And it's a big deal, but make sure if you disagree with abortion, then by all means, please vote yes on Amendment 2.
All right. PSA for Kentucky.
Yep. PSA for
And then
Kentucky.
hashtag Magnum, hashtag narcolepsy, hashtag vote yes on Amendment 2.
Yep.
All righty.
Now
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead.
Now
and
I have to
live
go
stream
measure
show.
the beard, and I'll leave that up to you guys to figure out what that means.
Oh my gosh. You using the metric system, or are you using?
I'm going to say that's better off not being a euphemism, and I just got to go very literal with it.
All right. Well, to everybody listening out there on Facebook Landia and YouTube Landia, thank you all so much for your support. We're going to end the stream now. And don't forget to share the show with everybody you know, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.